Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
805-436-580 KIDO. And yes, it's October, and I don't know about you, but I've gotten a cold, and I can't believe that has happened already. And hopefully this is not an indication of how my winter is going to be. But yes, it's always great to start the day with a cold. And, I really want to thank everybody who works in the medical community, because those of us that take our health for granted, those of us that, are not going to the hospital like the people pulling into St. Luke's this morning, we have no idea what you people go through. And to the people that are in surgery or on their way to surgery, I just say be not afraid and hang in there. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and whine, because there are a lot of people like Lee Joe and others and Glenn that, work and drive big trucks and do all sorts of crazy things. And they do it with colds, and they just kind of laugh at silly little rabbits like Kevin Miller, who sit back and whine and complain about a cold. Now, I will say this, that I do like my voice when I have a cold. And Bo goes, yeah, Kevin, you actually have a radio voice. Thank you, Bo. I appreciate that. That wasn't Bo. That was Sweet William. I'm already delirious. Thank you, Sweet William, for that. Yes. So, those people that have those big raspy voices, mine is kind of like, hi, how you doing, everybody? So as I'm going through here, the only good thing about this is for lack of a better term, I'm digging the semi-pseudo deep voice. By the way, this hour of the program brought to you by our friends at Team Mazda. If you haven't heard yet, October is Cash for Cars. Cash for Cars month at Team Mazda, the pre-owned superstore. If you got a car that you're willing to sell, take, or trade to Team Mazda, get free cash and a trade quote from Aaron and Joel. They do a great job. Love just going there and hanging out. Selling your car to Team is much easier than selling it yourself. Drive to Team. If you agree to their cash offer, they'll cut you a check and take care of the title transfer. It's super easy. And yes, they will pay you as much as you'd get selling yourself, or even more. Don't worry if your car needs maintenance and repair. Since Team has their own service department, it's easy for them to fix it up before they put it on the used car lot. Now, if you're looking to trade your old car for a new one, only Team has the following 2 trade guarantees: 130% of book value or $2,000 minimum. Trade for push, pull, or drag clunkers. Whether you want to sell for cash or trade for new, get a free no-obligation quote from Team before you agree to any other offer. It's Cash for Cars month at Team Mazda, the pre-owned superstore on the Boulevard, or online at goteammazda.com. Please tell them Kevin Miller sent you. Well, nationally, we have the big news of Liz Cheney becoming a traitor. We'll get to that. We have the Melania Trump saying that she's very much pro-abortion. And you think to yourself, okay, if you're writing this book and maybe you want to get some money, and maybe you passionately feel this way, but why are you releasing this stuff right now? Is this a way to help Donald Trump get some of those suburban white women who are pro-choice or pro-abortion? I guess you could think of it that way, but, it's funny. And what is it, the expression Dave Ramsey has, life happens? And life is seemingly happening here where it's very easy for us, and this is why I love being with you every morning. It's very easy for us to say, well, they should do this, and what are they thinking? But we're humans. We are typical humans. And just like when you had Shaq and Kobe breaking up, do you remember Shaq and Kobe breaking up? Was that a force in your life? That was too much of an older reference. That's a millennial reference. I'm sorry, my Gen Z producer. I will work on trying to be more culturally appropriate for you. But Shaq and Kobe, Jerry and Jimmy, all these people, you think, or Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, does that resonate at all? You're like, dude, I'm not a Patriots fan, so shut up. Okay, fair enough. And you think, why do people do the things they do? Because we're human. Because we're flippin' human. So Melania Trump is releasing a book, and of course the liberal media loves it because it's all about that she needs to have, women need to have access to an abortion. And, she has that thick accent as well, which is, we've been hearing clips on that all morning long, and you think to yourself, But we will get into that. Also, we will continue our talk about red light cameras coming to the Treasure Valley, coming to the city of Boise. Apparently, the city has to go through a process. They have to get a bid from ACHD, and then they have to get a contractor, and they're talking about safety and security. I know a lot of people were talking about that yesterday. We will have Kent Goldthorpe joining us at 7, ACHD Commissioner, 80 County Highway District Commissioner. Brandi Swindell from Stanton Health will join us and talk about the battle for life as well. She's always, at the forefront of these things, so we appreciate her. And, of course, we appreciate your phone calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you missed it yesterday, CNN and a lot of the liberals were making a big darn deal about Liz Cheney deciding that she was going to vote for Kamala.
I know that our security and our freedom depend upon a world in which America, with our allies, leads. And above all else, I know that the most conservative of conservative values is fidelity to our Constitution.
No, you hear what Liz Cheney is saying, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, who in their right mind would do this? Do you hate Donald Trump that bad that you're going to, endorse Kamala? No, Kamala is so bad, she makes this guy,
Thanks, Obama,
seem like a conservative. Let's go to the phones. Paulie joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning. Should I say top of the morning to you, laddie?
I wish I were feeling like it was top of the morning. Yeah, go ahead, please.
You have a head cold? Is that what you said?
Yes.
You're probably going to get about 50 different ways of having quick remedies, but I'll tell you what the old doctor used to say, the old country doctor would say, teaspoon of honey, cup of tea, your taste, stir, drink it down, and just try to relax.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be relaxing for about 17 hours here, Paul.
It's not going to go away soon.
And I got poor Bo going, thank goodness. We have one of these old school studios, so Bo has his cell and I have my cell. So we're not in the same room together, but, if I weren't going to New York next week, I would be just home. I don't know what I'd be doing, but I'd be doing the show from home and it would sound a little differently. But I digress, Paulie. Let's talk about the big issues. You want to talk about Liz Cheney on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yeah, I think she's doing a great imitation or a remix of Benedict Arnold. She showed her colors when she was up there on Benny's bench during the show trial for January 6th. And to top it all off, it was Nazi Pelosi's idea not to let Kevin McCarthy's idea to put the people on that he would pick. She wouldn't let him do it. She had to pick them herself. So she picked one of the ones that she picked was who we're talking about. And I felt as though from that moment on that she kind of blew up her own aspirations about getting any higher in any kind of a position in the government. I guess she's a good family mother, and she's had 5 kids, and she's done what she set out to do. But when it came time for her to go up and run for another position in Montana, I believe, in Montana, she had that blowout. She got wiped out in that deal. So I'm kind of at a loss for words right now. I'm having a hard time talking, so I'm going to leave it to you.
I like that. You wait a minute. So you come in, you give me a teaspoon of honey and a shot of vinegar. No, and then you're going, and then you go, well, Kevin, wait a minute, Paulie. You said I could talk, and then you interrupt me. How dare you? If I had a gong, I would give it to you. However, and then you go, and then all of a sudden you just talk yourself out and go, okay, Kevin, back to you. Who the heck do you think you are, me?
I learned from the best. How about that?
My man.
No, I think she's done a lot as far as a disservice, and her family has done a disservice. Not, taking her kids aside and not knowing if they're going to be involved in politics. But her father, after 9/11, decided to take it upon himself to do all the infrastructure that they did, all the building that they did in Iraq, and he didn't take any kind of vote on it. It was a no vote bid, and he just took it over for the company that he was working for, which was Halliburton. And I thought that deal stunk to high heaven. I don't see how that ever got through, but it did. And I guess because it was Homeland Security's idea and that nature. But Liz Cheney.
Wait a minute! I thought you said you were done talking. Which is it now?
Well, that's what I wanted to say, but I was having a hard time talking because I didn't clear my throat. I'm sorry.
You didn't clear your throat before this big-time broadcast? How dare you?
Yes, I did.
And now you're raising your voice. My goodness, this is getting off to a raucous start today, sir.
Thanks for the laugh, Kev. I need it.
Well, we appreciate that. We just call it the morning laughter. You take care, Paulie.
You take care. You're the one that's sick.
Yeah.
We need you on the airwaves.
Yes, sir. God bless, Paulie.
God bless you. Have a great day, Kevin.
You as well. 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Let's continue on with Liz Cheney. Now, remember Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney, they've endorsed Kamala. And now Liz Cheney is in Wisconsin, the birthplace of the Republican Party, and she is saying that she's endorsing a Democrat. Are you kidding me?
I tell you, I have never voted for a Democrat. But this year, I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
And there we have it. Liz Cheney doing the deep dive. Liz Cheney going extreme. Liz Cheney saying she needs for her conscience to vote for a Democrat. And she's going to vote for Kamala. What type of Republican is that? It really underscores the whole vibe here of these establishment Republicans that do not get their way. They do not get their way. So they take their ball and bat. And here's the issue. You don't have to like Donald Trump, but you don't have to go to the side of the enemy. Now, coming up, we're going to talk more about the hurricane and how Joe Biden has politicized that. Also, we'll get back to the red light cameras. First, here is Donald Trump replying to Liz Cheney.
Harris is out on the campaign trail today with Liz Cheney. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Liz Cheney lost for Congress. She was terrible. Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk.
I know. You're going, Kevin, you're showing your east of the Great River upbringing. We don't laugh at people here in Idaho.
She was terrible. Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk. All she wants to do is shoot missiles at people. I really think it hurts. I think, frankly, if Kamala, I think they hurt each other. I think they're so bad, both of them.
There we have it, the former president of the United States in Michigan. That's part of the magic of Donald Trump. She's a stupid war hawk. By the way, it's not looking good for Kamala in Georgia. We'll get to that report coming up. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. This whole idea of federal disaster relief and the fact that why aren't they helping the folks in North Carolina?
But while Joe Biden won this state in 2020...
So you're voting for Donald Trump?
there are warning lights for Kamala Harris.
I feel like he aligns more with America and American values than she does.
Isaac Simpson explained those Trump values while I made some gains on a delicious potato biscuit and omelet.
I just know that once you start doing away with things like the Second Amendment and altering it to your own, what you think is sensible, then it's a problem. Because then who's the arbiter of that?
Who's the arbiter of that? We'll get to that in a minute. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller. Oh, that's right. Today, we're going to give away tickets to Boise State. Clay and Buck will be giving a pair of tickets away, and we will as well. We'll listen here for the details. Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio.
Interference case, and it really laid out the case from Jack Smith that Donald Trump, as he puts it, engaged in criminal acts to stay in power, and he laid out this scheme, he says, was to overturn the will of the voters. I do want to ask you, given you're a member of Congress, as we look ahead to the next election, your role is critical in certifying the results of the election. And I just want to ask you, can you commit to a peaceful transfer of power after every state has certified its election results?
Well, Pam, I mean, a couple of things there to unpack that question. One, it makes no sense except for a political motivation that Jack Smith and the judge unsealed this before the Trump campaign even had a chance to respond. They were given to mid-October to respond. Number two, the reason he's filing a superseding indictment is that the Supreme Court ruled that the official acts did not allow this into the realm of criminal activity. This is politically driven. It's being done deliberately in the weeks before. And I got to tell you, I'm not hearing from a single constituent any concerns about this. It's the inflation, the economy, the border, crime, and the world that's in chaos. And that's the reason that the Harris campaign abandoned all of this after Biden.
Right,
and we'll get back to that. Good morning, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO. So once again, the liberal media going back to, are you going to surrender? Are you going to do this? You think to yourself, we've already litigated all these things. And it's not as if Donald Trump is in the White House. Donald Trump isn't in the White House. Donald Trump is the dude that's just hanging out and doing his own thing. By the way, I do want to remind you on our website, our friends at Haunted World, they're back. You like haunted houses, Bo? You do. You been to Haunted World? Truly the best scary experience ever. I mean, you go to some places, and look, this is not to bag on anybody else. Okay, you go through the house and you're done. Man, that is a life-changing experience at Haunted World. I mean, you go through the house, then another house, and then the field. Years ago, Bo, that might be a bonding experience. You're going, Kevin Miller, I spent enough time with you. Years ago, and Sweet William knows this, it was Sweet William, myself, and Mateo from the KISS FM. We went to the haunted house. And they had a little special thing for me. And the folks at the Haunted World, such a great family that runs it. It's a true local business. And they had, the special one for me. And I can remember when I was in Alabama, they had the special one for me as well, and it never worked out. So, I'm a guy that doesn't believe in the glass ceiling, with men and women. So it was me and Mateo and Sweet William, and then we had these girls behind us. And I said to myself, well, why don't they go ahead? They need to go ahead. And they go, well, you go ahead. I go, no. This is girl power. And so they got all scared, which was great. But that Haunted World, man, then you roll around. They got these things. When we were talking about Haunted World, you get the ROI on your investment. And it is Halloween season. So we have our profile of the Haunted World on our website. I love the picture. Actually, it was Kevin Miller Photo Productions that took those. Have you seen my Haunted World pictures? Were you around for those? Yes, Kevin. You tell me that every year. Thank you, Bo. All right. Anyway, if you're looking for something unique to Idaho, Haunted World is so special that people from Hollywood come out just to check out how this Idaho family does it. You won't be disappointed. So again, Haunted World on our website, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's get you to work safely and on time on this chilly Friday morning. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the G&G Insulation Studio, traffic on the freeway looking good east and westbound. No major problems there. In downtown Boise on State Street at 18th, you have construction down to one lane either direction and closed off at State and 9th right behind the Capitol. It's a parking lot party tonight celebrating National Taco Day at Spitfire Tacos and Tequila and Eagle. Tacos, live music, 50% off tequila flights today at Spitfire Tacos and Eagle from 3 till 10. That's your traffic now on KIDO.
Thank you very much. Early morning app yappers. Remember, you can hang in with us at the free KIDO Talk Radio app. It is the Cheney family has always stunk in conservative realms. Mike and Caldwell. From Denver, I wish Attorney General Labrador would sue Biden for improper use of funds and tax dollars with all this garbage going on. Denver in Nampa. Eric in Payette. Hey, Kevin, Raul Labrador for Idaho governor. Thank you, Eric in Payette. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Thank you very much. We have another app yapper? No, I guess it's just redundant. All right, let's get back to Liz Cheney deciding that she is going to go to the dark side, that she is going to go to the side of the liberals. And then we have this reporter from CNN attacking this congressman. Now, remember, there are thousands of people in North Carolina that are without power. There are thousands of people that wonder, where is the government? You know, our motto is we never leave anybody behind, but apparently we're leaving people behind in North Carolina.
I'm asking you about looking forward. But look, I'm not asking about what voters are going to vote on.
Absolutely, we have to have a peaceful transition. And I'll point out, as J.D. Vance just pointed out, President Trump had his concerns. Well, he pursued them in court, but he left before January 20th on his own accord. So to say otherwise,
but he also pressured his vice president to overturn the will of the voters, and
he pressured his vice president
and state
to
officials
take a view of a very vague law that has since been the Congress since stepped in and clarified.
Okay, no.
It's so funny because this guy's a congressman. He writes the laws, and these sniveling, snarkly little media people think that it's their junior deputy badges to hold people accountable. Now, of course, they never take on the really bad people. They never really go in depth when we're talking about good reporting, but they're so enamored with themselves. And if they had any credibility, they would be doing this against Nancy Pelosi. And where is the fairness here, right?
But we did. The Electoral Count Act, Pam. I mean, the
Electoral Count Act did not allow the vice president to overturn the will of the people. But really quickly, just to be clear, you will commit to a peaceful transfer of power.
That was so vague that's why the Congress stepped in to clarify that.
Because of what January 6th happened. And, okay, but listen, will you commit to a peaceful transfer of power?
We've had protests that have exploded into riots all over this country, including in Minneapolis, including in Portland. So I don't think you necessarily draw the causality. But at the end of the day, yes, we should have peaceful transfer of power in this country.
Hallelujah. A peaceful transition of power, everybody. Can we all rest?
Absolutely. And you will certify the results.
Oh my gosh, I can't take the insanity. I'm sorry if that caused you to tune out. Coming up next, a big star, one of the biggest ever, has endorsed Kamala. And you're going to go, Taylor? No, actually, Taylor already endorsed Kamala. This guy is even bigger. You could say he's the boss. Speaking of the boss, don't let plumbing problems boss you around. All you have to do right now is call our friends at Beacon Plumbing. Stop freaking, call Beacon. Say it with me, everybody. In your car, in your home, in your shower. Stop freaking, call Beacon. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
I'm kind of pissed off about that, if I'm being honest with you. What do you think of J.D. Vance?
A little more likable.
He got beautiful eyes. He'll keep us safe.
He's handsome. Seriously? It's like your Photoshop.
And there we have it, Kevin Miller in the morning, a little Jesse Waters there. We'll get to him in a minute. So, as we talked about, by the way, we'll sound off about red light cameras. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up next hour with ACHD Commissioner Kent Goldthorpe. I believe Kent is all excited about that. Speaking of being excited, Kamala Harris is pulling out all the stops. Bruce Springsteen has now endorsed her. Liz Cheney, Taylor Swift, and The Boss.
Hi, I'm Bruce Springsteen. Friends, fans, and the press have asked me who I'm supporting in this most important of elections. And with full knowledge that my opinions no more or less important than those of any of my fellow citizens, here's my answer. I'm supporting Kamala Harris for president and Tim Walz for vice president, and opposing Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
No, nothing personal, but yes, he actually looks as old as he sounds. Now, Kevin Miller, you can't make fun of old people. You're an old man. I am an old man. However, have they ever heard of a filter? Have they ever heard of makeup? So here you have the boss in this broken-down dive diner wearing a flannel shirt, and not a lot of high energy from the boss. No Born in the USA, no glory days. I think the boss would rather just be at his home, hanging out in a hammock, if you will.
Here's why. We are shortly coming upon one of the most consequential elections in our nation's history. Perhaps not since the Civil War has this great country felt as politically, spiritually, and emotionally divided.
It is tough seeing Bruce Springsteen look and sound so old. And I hate to say this because, you know, my hands are getting old as well. He's got the old man hands. Glenn in Nampa with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Young Glenn, good morning.
We're about the same age, brother.
I think you wear it a lot better than I do, young Glenn. So, good morning.
I don't know. My beard is mostly white now. So
you know, as Rob Studebaker told me once, just take the compliment.
All right, I'll take the compliment that I look like Santa Claus.
I'm a little punchy this morning because of this head cold. But anyway, please go ahead.
You know, it's funny how the left keeps trotting out all these so-called important people to tell us how we think we need to vote. Taylor Swift, you have Barbara Streisand. I can't tell you how many celebrities have endorsed Kamala. And you know what? I don't really care. They do this appeal to authority. You saw it with the Hunter Biden laptop where they came out and they had these 52 whatever intelligence experts that said it was Russian disinformation. And now you have them bringing out supposedly all these economists that say that Kamala's going to do better on the economy. You know, instead of actually making an argument, they're using an appeal to authority. They're using people to try to manipulate us to vote how they want to vote. So I could care less what some celebrity who he's voting for. You know, they live a privileged life. They're disconnected from society. I would ask you this. When was the last time Bruce Springsteen had to go to the grocery store and buy groceries or put gas in his car? I would probably say it's been a very, very long time.
I would agree with you. So much for Born to Run.
But you know what? If you listen to his music, he really has a leftist slant to his music. If you listen to Born in the USA, it's anti-war. It's like a hippie song, really.
Yeah, no, it is.
So, one thing that I know ACHD doesn't have anything to do with the traffic cameras in Nampa, but there was an article I was reading the other day where it says that Nampa is recording on their traffic cameras 24/7, and they also have license plate readers, and they claim they're only saving the traffic camera data for 2 weeks and the license plate reader data for. How do you trust them? You know, to me, this is a invasion of privacy and something that we need to talk about and maybe take to the city council to see if we can get it stopped. I know Lee Joe, if he's out there, if you're listening, this is probably something that you would be interested in.
Yeah. Well, Lee Joe is very pro-police. He's very pro-police state.
Oh, yeah, he's very pro-police. I can't think of a more pro-police person that talks on your show than Lee Joe.
Yeah, Lee Joe. Exactly.
I guess I ran out of steam on you.
Man.
But then as soon as you start talking, I'll interrupt. How's that?
I get that all the time. So back to Liz Cheney. What do you make of that?
You know, to me, she's in the vein of John McCain and Mitt Romney. They claim to be Republicans, but they're closet Democrats. And so for her to now come out and say she's going to vote Democrat is not a surprise at all. I'm surprised she hasn't done it sooner.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we don't like to throw names out there, but Rhino definitely comes to mind.
Rhino
You
Liz
just
Cheney.
look at, what's that?
I said Rhino Liz Cheney.
Yep. Yeah. She's one of the ones, you know, you look at John McCain, he was one that the Democrats loved. Same thing with Mitt Romney, same thing with Liz Cheney, and because she probably has more in common with the Democrats than the Republicans, that's why they like her so much. So.
Well, thank you very much for the call there, young Glenn.
Thank you for letting me taking my call, young Kevin, and giving us a platform to speak our mind and exercise our First Amendment rights.
Well,
it's something that our country needs a lot more of.
Well, we appreciate you. You take care, brother. Thank you.
You too, brother. Get better. We need you.
Thank you. Thank you, Glenn. Let's go to Steve in Meridian with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Hope you feel better, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Way to be a grown man and push through. Impressive, sir. And show up for work.
Hold on. Some of us have no choice. You know what I mean? We're from the old school of do it or else. Yes.
Exactly. I always like listening, and whenever you're talking about it, I can pipe in. But I'm curious, or not curious, but I'm intrigued by the Cheney thing. And what comes to mind for me is the illusion that family is everything, because family is actually not everything, as is the case for the Cheney family. When you have generations of people believing a certain way and a person chooses family tradition over truth, family tradition over good decision-making, family tradition over voting for the better candidate this presidential election, it's remarkable. I mean, really, you know, there have been people that have converted from Democrat to Republican, so we look at those people and say, oh, they're enlightened, which I agree with. And then you look at people that were once Republican or conservative, and now they vote the other way, and we're thinking they're deceived, and I agree with that as well. But I just have to say, sometimes you have to choose over family. I think of an example in my own life. The man who raised me, I called Dad. He disowned me because I became a Christian and conservative. I had two grandparents who were voted Democrat of the Year in Colorado in consecutive years to talk about political loyalties in my family tradition. And when their oldest grandchild converts to the other side, they basically disown me, and it's a shame. But I am good. I'm pleased with my own decision making, not to follow the herd blindly. You know, I would encourage people to be careful when they say family is everything. No, it isn't. Family is right up there as long as that family includes God, our Heavenly Father. Now family is everything. And although I love my family, I don't have to follow them off the cliff. And I would recommend to choose truth, choose God, choose good decision-making, the highest priority over loyalty to your biological family. So that's a little insight that I learned after 50 years, sir, and I know you know that one as well, Kevin. You're an old man, too.
We're just going to call you Young Steve. We appreciate that, brother.
All right, Kevin. Have a nice Friday, sir.
You as well.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you, Steve in Meridian. We go now to the Chuck Berry of the Kevin Miller program.
Your last caller, your family can never own you. He said his family disowned him. How can they own you? You own yourself. What an idiot.
You know, why are you insulting people for speaking the truth? Why do you fear the truth?
Well, I didn't call him a war hog.
What does that mean?
Which is worse, what I said or war hog?
I don't know. I don't like it when you insult the good people.
I don't. And Bruce Springsteen and Tea Party Bob are real close to the same age. They sound a lot alike, don't they?
You sound a lot alike.
So I want to make a prediction. Is that okay on November?
Sure.
And you deserve that cold, by the way. You earned it.
Why is that?
I don't want to go into it. If you don't know why, then you shouldn't know why. But my prediction for November, Mr. Miller.
What are you talking about? I deserve that cold. You know, I would never or ever urge any sickness on you.
You sound like one of my grandsons.
Do you know
with that cold?
Do you know? He's got a good voice. Then you know. I was so stupid in my radio world that I got a chance to fill in for a buddy of mine, God rest his soul, Phil Valentine, that COVID took. And I was so desperate to do his show. And I was dry heaving during the show. It sounded horrible. And I refused to go off the air like a complete dope.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I sat in for a radio jock once back in the...
Look, this is not, we're not competing at all here. I'm just saying it's a sickness. Go ahead, please.
You know, it was FM rock. This is KIDO down in Radioland with... Anyway, my prediction. My prediction is Trump, of course, is going to lose the election. Big time. Landslide. But he's already got it figured out. In fact, he probably started a year ago figuring it all out, especially after Melania dumped him. But don't interrupt now. Now, on the 6th, he's going to take his passport that they were dumb enough not to take away from him. He's going to fly off to another country that doesn't have extradition, and he is going to land there and stay there with all his big money. And he ain't never coming back to the United States. He's going to abandon his people, period. Because he ain't, you know, he's going to jail if he stays in the U.S., but there's no ifs, ands, and buts. Because he ain't going to win the presidency, and he's just a standard citizen. And he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in a little box outside the prison. But that's what's going to happen. He's going to head out to another country, no extradition, and he'll fade away. Of course, Tucker Carlson will probably try and hunt him down.
I think that's wishful thinking.
No, that's not wish. That's a fact. Did I not predict everything? Did I not predict?
It's
everything?
2020.
Did I not predict
2016.
everything?
Bernie has my money, I believe.
Okay.
And the computer blew that one
Jerry
up.
Falwell says, hey, is Lindsey Graham, and it's none of my business what his sexual orientation is.
I knew this is coming.
But is he gay? I never see him with a woman. I never see him with a date. I don't hear much about his life. But now I was watching a thing on YouTube where somebody that knows him well, Laura Bloomberg, the gal that hangs out with Trump, says he's a homosexual in his sexual lifestyle. So, wow.
So if you don't hang out with a woman, you're a gay. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Period.
All right. Anything else?
All the priests in the world.
Yeah. Thank you. First of all, I've met Lindsey Graham once. Very nice guy, number one. Number two, there are rumors about everybody at 580-5436. 580-KIDO. You know what I'm saying? It's just unfortunate that we have people like Liberal Steve that continue to try to stir things up. So we move on. And isn't it funny? Aren't we all supposed to be tolerant? A guy who's very tolerant, our friend Sean Hannity, today at 1 on KIDO Talk Radio. There's a massive fire going on. The fire watch continues. Do you want to go check that out? I'll be here guarding the Fort Bow. And it goes to show you just how scary it is, the world we live in. So if you are commuting in and around the foothills, a pretty significant fire going on right now. I'm sure all the fire resources, our friends in the Boise Fire Department and others are rushing to the scene. So guys, gals, please be very careful. We need you. We appreciate you. Please do not engage in any unnecessary risks. We'll take more of your phone calls. Remember, we're going to talk about red light cameras coming up here. And, you know, it's a shame that it seems as if the folks in North Carolina are getting the Idaho treatment. And what do you mean by that, Kevin Miller? Well, we have the folks in North Carolina that we have Mayorkas and everybody else not helping. And do you think there's a political reason for this? Think about this for a moment.
We haven't seen FEMA. We haven't seen Red Cross. We haven't seen Hearts with Hands. We've seen no agencies come through here. Most people drive through with their cameras out, filming us like we're animals in a zoo, and don't stop.
Filming us like we're animals in the zoo. Where is FEMA? Where is the Red Cross? Where are all these people? And here's the thing, and we're going to get to this, and I know Sean was talking about it yesterday as well as Lars. You have the Secretary of Homeland Security saying they've run out of money. They've run out of money because of the illegals. We'll take your calls. We've got somebody on hold right now at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Here is Mayorkas.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
By the way, I heard Clay yesterday talking about this could be even worse than Katrina because it's hit in multiple areas. And in Katrina, it was focused. And you take a look at, and again, this is a little too inside baseball. I remember going into Katrina, and you had these massive resources being used, and today it's held up by tripwire, which is sad, sad, sad. Robert in Nampa with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Robert.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Sorry you're not feeling well today.
I appreciate that, sir, but we drive on, brother.
Well, just real quick, I've never seen Liberal Steve with a woman either, so what does that mean for him?
Yes, thank you.
I'm sitting out here at Harris Ranch looking at this fire right now, and it's pretty bad. It's grown quite a bit in just the time I've been out here doing some maintenance work. Very dangerous, so we got to pray for hopefully no structures get hit with that. But I wanted to make a comment about the cameras on the lights, and it might go against what some people think, but really, if you're not breaking the law, the cameras really shouldn't bother you. What I wished is that I'm driving every day all around the valley in my van and just wishing that people would get off their cell phones while they're driving. And I kind of hope the cameras would catch that. But I think it's a good thing to keep people safe.
Well, it has gotten out of control. I will say that.
It is. It's dangerous. I'm surprised that I haven't been hit or in accidents as much as people drive the way they do around here. It needs to get controlled.
Well, Robert, you can keep it here with us. Kent Goldthorpe will be there. So can you describe more about the fire?
I got out here about an hour ago, and it looks like the wind is blowing to the west. It's coming over the top of the hill from when I first got out here, and it's grown quite substantially. Yeah, you can see flames coming over the top from Harris Ranch.
Well, Robert, be safe, and thank you for the call, sir.
All right. Have a good day.
You as well. Phone number's here, 580-5436. Again, a fire over in the foothills near Harris Ranch. More on that in a minute. Hang in there, guys. KIDO Talk Radio Traffic. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the G&G Installation Studio out of Candy County into Ada County Freeway, getting busy now. Still dealing with that fire. Highway 21 at Highland Valley. A lot of the hillside on fire right now. Just be aware of that on the east side of the city. Parking lot party going on today, celebrating National Taco Day at Spitfire Tacos and Tequila in Eagle. Tacos, live music, 50% off tequila flights. National Taco Day today from 3 till 10 at Spitfire Tacos in Eagle. That's your traffic now on KIDO.
And again, keeping track of this close fire, we would love to get some more reports at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And I understand that, the weather is cold. And again, I'm not a meteorologist. The great meteorologist that we loved was our friend Larry Gebert, God rest his soul. But you think about, what would cause a fire so early in the morning. And as I said before, we always thought that our government would be there for us. What we're finding out, sadly, and I think folks like Lee Joe and others in the prepper community appear to be right, that when we have, Mayorkas saying we've run out of money because we've given it all to the illegals. This is an administration that they should be run from office. They are so low that Jimmy Carter's administration should be held up, stories higher than them.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have.
Wait a minute. We're the United States of America. And here you have Zelensky coming over here, and we pass along the basket to Zelensky. And we give him everything, and for the Americans, we have actually nothing. Now remember, and I want to thank Sweet William Productions for this, 3 months ago, Mayorkas said something totally different.
FEMA is tremendously prepared. This is what we do. This is what they do. And the key here, Rebecca, is also to make sure that the communities who are potentially impacted are prepared as well.
This was before hurricane season. Now remember, this has only been the one major hurricane of the year, obviously historic.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
Are you kidding me? I do want to thank Team Mazda for sponsoring this hour of the program. If you need a new car or great pre-owned, go see our friends Aaron and Joel. Coming up, we're talking fire and talking traffic. Kevin Miller, ACHD. Good morning, Kent.
Hey, good morning. Nice to hear your voice, even though it's a sick one.
I appreciate that. So thank you for joining us. Obviously, a lot going on. And as someone who has been in the Treasure Valley for so long, we're getting a ton of pictures from people concerning this fire. How in the world could a fire start and get so massive? I mean, we're in October, right? I mean, please educate me.
I have no idea. Do you know how big it is yet? I haven't heard.
No, we don't really live in a news town. I think people are posting our, photos here of this and sending them to me, and it's as if it's the apocalypse. It reminds me of the fire that hit Table Rock a few years ago.
Yes. As soon as I heard there was a fire, thanks to your station, I walked out on my deck to see if I could see it, and there's so much smoke stuck along the foothills that all I see is a black streak.
Well,
no fire.
It's
how bad the smoke is.
Right, but it's not like you're close to the foothills.
I am up on the bench, got a pretty high view. I can usually see anything and everything that's burning in the foothills for probably close to 60, 70 miles.
You're on the bench. I thought you were in Meridian.
I am. There's more than one bench.
See, you learn something new every day. So they call that area the bench where you live in Meridian? I know where you live.
Yeah, well, it's the first big elevated level above the interstate, and that means it's probably the second bench because the first bench is above the Boise River.
I think you made that up.
Maybe. You'll never know.
Wow. Let's see. From Steve in Meridian, you're doing something right when an idiot calls you and he's an idiot. And he's a coward because he wouldn't have the cojones to say that to me live on the air to my face. Keep the faith, Kevin. Heal up, Stephen Meridian about Liberal Steve last hour, boy. So,
I'm glad for once it wasn't talking about me.
Well, we're going to get to you. So,
thanks.
Before we get to this, again, what do you make of what would cause such a fire? I mean, we didn't have any lightning or anything.
No, and because of that, I'm sitting here thinking, oh boy. Human caused again, and I hope not, but you never know.
Wasn't that a Table Rock fire caused by kids with fireworks?
Yes, it was.
Oh.
And a home burned down. I think somebody lost their life.
Yeah, and then you think about, if that wasn't the sign of the apocalypse, the burning all around the cross and all that?
It could have brought some pretty interesting thoughts to mind, yes.
Exactly. Judgment Day for all of us, Kent.
Well, for me, I guess it's starting right now.
Exactly. I was going to say, whoever gets to St. Peter first, please put in a good word. But he might consider the source. So I hear that you and your best friend,
Joe Biden,
Mayor McClain, are rejoicing about these red light cameras. And you and I were talking about this a couple days ago, and you go, hey, I could talk about it. I go, where's the press release? And you go, you don't need no press release. Look, that's how journalism runs in this town. You actually hire people to do press releases, Kent. So why aren't you all proud of the freedoms that you're going to take away with these red light cameras in Boise?
I don't think we're taking away anybody's freedoms. The guy you had on the call just a few minutes ago from Harris Ranch was brilliant. He said, if you're not breaking the law, you have nothing to fear. And please remember, this is just a pilot program with just a very few cameras to see if enough data can be developed and a reason to expand the program. And if there's not, and if there isn't, it'll go away. And if there's any shenanigans that go on, by anybody's definition, with regards to the use of the cameras, I can see that they go away.
Right. Well, we appreciate that. Now let's get back to the topic. What about these red light cameras, Kent?
They're going to develop data to see if we can't do a better job than a bunch of guys in cars with blue lights, and same thing with motorcycles, because unfortunately the absolute wanton disregard for traffic laws right now is overwhelmed all law enforcement in this county. And either something like this happens, again, on a pilot basis only, and if it's effective, fine. If it's not, it's gone. But right now, as so many of your callers have said the last two sessions now, yesterday and beginning today, we're overwhelmed with people that just don't think the laws apply to them.
Well, primarily, it is a phenomena here where you have so many people running the red light, and you wonder why.
Because their schedule and their agenda is more important than anyone else's, exclamation points all over.
Yeah. So how do you think this is going to play out here with the red light cameras? You're in favor of them.
Well, I was stunned Wednesday when I was sitting in our commission meeting receiving this presentation. I was actually, other than one very, very quick question, I was the only one that questioned the city of Boise, and I did at length, about the legality, about precedent, about what data is going to be collected, how it's going to be used, how long it's going to be stored, and they answered. So I got my questions answered, and because of the intimate knowledge that I have of the lives that have been lost, collisions that have had, and the wanton disregard on the part of our public for traffic laws, I said, okay, I'm willing to give this a chance. And that's all I said.
Yeah. Again, it's odd to me that they've just done this by decree. They've just arbitrarily decided to do this.
Well, I don't know how arbitrary it was. I've been accusing them with very, very stiff, pointed fingers for a number of years now of not doing their job. So they may have been getting sick of listening to me, too. I don't know. I know that police departments all over this valley have been hearing that from me for a long time. I'm surprised one of them hasn't got mad enough to post a guy at the bottom of my hill to start giving me tickets every day.
Well, it's odd, Kent, and maybe we can make that happen for you here on KIDO Talk Radio. It's very odd, though, that I was reading the propaganda, or one of the outlets was reading the propaganda from the city of Boise, where they're saying this is going to help officers not engage in interactions with the public, and where it could be stressful and confrontations. And I'm like, look, we love the police, but now we're saying the police are too busy or whatever to give somebody a ticket for running a red light. I think if you had officers, and I understand you can't do it all the time, but if you had them just enforce that, and I will say this, Boise, it is to a degree on State Street, my own experiences, but look, Eagle and Fairview, boom, boom, boom. If your beloved mayor of Meridian ever wanted to collect a ton of money, you just have a couple of those guys out there every time the light turns.
And you're right. You're 100% right. In fact, that would be an ideal place to run a pilot program for this, but it's in the city of Meridian, and Meridian isn't doing this pilot. It's the city of Boise. So Boise doesn't start for a mile to the east at Cloverdale. So anyway, we'll have to see how Boise can make it happen. Maybe there's going to be something at there at Milwaukee and Overland, maybe there by the LDS Temple. There's plenty of opportunity there. I know Vista and Overland is one of the places that will probably have the camera. There are lots of places in Boise, but none of them would be near as effective as there on the Eagle Corridor.
Yeah, no, and again, you have people going too fast, and whether it's on the connector, the highway, whether it's on Eagle Road, people are obsessed with speed. Yeah, it would be nice if people were, again, respectful, but they're certainly not. What about the concern over civil liberties, Ken? I wrote an article 5 years about this, and I was ripped by conservatives, and again, I'm a safety guy, but on the other hand, I just didn't like how it went down. I just didn't like how, Mother May I decided that this was going to happen, and it seems heavy-handed to me.
Well, who else is going to make that decision? And I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, well,
who else is going to make that decision?
I have an answer. How about a public forum? They're so big on public forums, and they ignore everybody anyway. And again, I'm not getting red at you, although as I get older, red seems to be my natural color, which is not very masculine. And it's not even red, it's pink. But, she ran on and for people that don't know, Mayor McLean ran on a platform of listening. I will tell you this, Dave Beater was so out of touch. Great guy. He didn't even know that this program existed. Good. I understand that. He had his own favorites. But that guy was in tune with the people of Boise. Mayor McLean, with all due respect, ran on a pattern of listening. Why not have an open meeting as opposed to having her and the Politburo arbitrarily decide what is good and what is not? Remember when they redid the whole Boise bench thing, and people said they were against it, and she went, but at least people were heard. To me, it hit me with, why not have a public forum on this? Why not raise awareness? Why not do this as opposed to she and the Amen Corner and the Boise City Council lecturing us?
So how many people in your office just caught your cold with that big raspberry you just gave us?
Well, as you know, they have me in an isolated room, isolated from everyone else, and so I'm fine. Bo is very grateful that he has his own hermetically sealed room. A young lovely lady tried to open the door for me, and I go, hey, man, I'm good. You want to stay away from me. Again, it's a head cold. And then you have people going, you got the vid. Look, I remember when I had the COVID, and I remember what the Godless Corporation told me. You know what they told me, Kent? They told me, here's your stuff. Go work at home and make sure you blog twice a day.
Hey, I already told you what the name of your disease was, but you probably won't say that on the radio because I invented it myself.
Well, I invent a lot of things with the voices in my head. See, this is what they do. When it gets too uncomfortable, folks, when we get too close to the truth, Kent goes for the humor. Well, Kent, we are on to you today, brother.
You know what? They should have had a hearing or 2 or 10 in Boise. I don't know that they didn't. They haven't said they did, but let me tell you again, then people are going to think my devil's advocate is a political proclivity, and it isn't.
Well, it is. But you're in with them.
Okay, but my experience with hearings and open meetings and things, I'm going to spend $243 million of your dollars tomorrow. How many of you are going to show up to listen to how it's going to be spent? What, maybe 3?
I bet you would pack the house if you would advertise the parking thing. I still can't find a release on this. I think they hauled somebody out to explain this, but again, the rationale seems very, very strange. Well, we're going to make sure that the officers aren't involved in what else do they have to do? And again, I love the police, but on the other hand,
it's a very strange thing to say. I'll agree.
Yeah, on the other hand, with all due respect, it's not like we have a lot of crime here, thank the Lord. And traffic is the number one problem, and fatalities is what we want to avoid. why not have them stationed there a couple times? And again, you caught that where I think it was the spokesperson for the mayor or whoever said, well, this'll help us not have, so many interactions that could be, escalation. And I'm like, huh? Well, wouldn't you want your police officers on the road just in case one of these persons happens to be a criminal and they pull them over?
And the answer is yes. But that won't happen in the instances of folks that are caught doing something with those cameras. That may be a small fraction of 1% of the interactions that normally would happen with police officers that don't. But, yeah, you could probably miss a big deal or 10.
Yeah, our great friend Kent Goldthorpe joining us. So do you expect this pilot program to get popular and move into Meridian?
Would not surprise me. I know that when NAMPA first started the camera program of taking the license plates and running them through a very specific program to check for Amber Alert, people involved in those and other things, there's been some very strong positive response to that, and several very large what would otherwise have been very large criminal actions stopped. We actually approved that in Meridian as well.
Well, I remember when it came in Meridian, it was a big deal.
It was a big deal because of the results that were had in Canyon County. The other comment that was made about what does NAMPA do with all those cameras and the amount of data that they store for so long? I don't really know how long they store data. I know that ACHD wipes their hard drives every single day. We don't keep a single thing. We don't allow access to any of the traffic data to anyone, lawyers, judges, anybody. They can't have it because it doesn't exist. And one of my strongest concerns about this red light program was that we were going to be opening a Pandora's box so that plaintiff or defendant's attorneys were going to be able to, under the guise of public information, demand all this information for their own benefit and interests, and caused my agency to have to spend millions of dollars in overhead pandering to the desires of people trying to get out of breaking the law. And I was told, no, absolutely, that can't happen. This information disappears.
Right.
And so that's okay too. I as I said yesterday, I am a firm believer that this is not in violation of anyone's constitutional.
It's in violation. What about due process? And by the way, isn't there a code in the Idaho law that the police officers have to be there or have to review things?
Absolutely, and that's why there's no violation. In order for anybody to get a ticket from a red light camera, and this is my understanding, and I checked on it with lawyers. I asked lawyers to come up to the stand, and I asked them this question, and it has to be reviewed by a sworn officer. And trust me, and I'm not saying that like you should trust me. I'm just saying this was good enough for me to make my decision. They're not going to send out a ticket if there isn't 6 ways from Sunday that they can show that guy ran a hard red light. Otherwise, they may just send him a warning or do nothing at all. And I'm thinking there'll probably be a whole lot of do nothing at all.
Yeah, I've lived in places with red light cameras, and they will take you down. Can you hang on for a minute, Kent?
Sure.
All right, more with our friend Kent Goldthorpe. And again, we're continuing covering this fire over by Harris Ranch. We'd love to get your calls on that as well. Firefighters, people in the area, please be very careful. Kevin Miller here on KIDO Talk Radio. Now, we have a couple clips here. This is from Channel 2. Let's take a listen.
Excited about this. Safety is a huge priority. We've heard from residents about their own concerns related to red light running, and so this is an important first step to realizing a goal we have related to safety in our city. There we have it. Mayor McLean, fresh from her trip from Africa, your response.
Well, I don't know what kind of public uproar there was to cause this. Again, For years, I've been told that this was probably against the law in Idaho, and that was the first question I had was, what about the legality of this? And there's no law preventing it and no law allowing it. So and no court cases about it. So we're, I guess, treading on new territory here. I couldn't hear what the mayor said very well, but there's no public brouhaha.
So wait a minute. The Boise mayor, basically, if we were writing a headline for this, it would be Boise mayor talks about breaking the law.
Yeah, I guess she did, but she wasn't, incriminating herself. Maybe some of the rest of us, which would be deservedly so.
Let's see if we can hear this again, courtesy of Channel 2.
About this, safety is a huge priority. We've heard from residents about their own concerns related to red light running, and so this is an important first step to realizing a goal we have related to safety in our city.
There we have it. She's heard from a lot of people. Of course, there was no public forum on this.
Sure. And before Nextdoor kicked me off their social media platform, I used to see quite often people complaining about the red light running problem, but that doesn't mean they're all calling City Hall with the same concerns.
Well, she's a listener. By the way, the mayor's spokesman person talked to Channel 7 yesterday, I believe. Let's see. Who do we have here? Maybe it's somebody from your office.
So we'll be looking at those intersections that might be hard for officers to service and might be hard for them to get in and out of if they are going to be policing in a certain area.
What is she talking about?
Or we'll look at areas that we know are dangerous or have red light running problems and complaints.
There we have it. Go ahead.
There are statistics, and there is plenty of data showing where the worst offenders are in terms of intersections, where there's the most, for instance, T-bones and things like that, and so many of them are caused by people who think that their need to hurry is greater than someone else's need to start off at a green light. There is data to justify the locations of these cameras when they come up for this trial period.
Kent Goldthorpe joining us, Kevin Will in the morning at KIDO Talk Radio. So, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but here you have the spokesperson saying we're not going to put the officers in this area because it's too dangerous. And we don't want anybody to be, in dangerous situations, but isn't that like turning over... Isn't that like turning over a neighborhood to the criminals? Isn't that like the apartment building in Aurora, Colorado to the gangs?
Well, we could all probably pick better words to answer people's questions. I know half the time I'm on your program, I think, why in the heck did I say that? But, those are probably pretty poorly picked words for giving reasons why the program is needed in certain areas.
Well, be careful. I know you get invited to the mayor's ball quite a bit, so I don't want to get you in trouble.
Well, the little gal who was talking there, I've listened to her so many hundred times over the last 10 years. Her name's Bree Brush. Maybe the mayor would allow her to come on your program sometime. She's actually very well prepared. Maybe she didn't choose the right words for that particular answer.
Again, we're not going after her personally. We're just saying it was an odd thought there where we're going to have the computers, the robots take over as opposed to the police officers. But again, what do I know? I'm not an elected politician. The folks, all we ever care about is, serving our community, not what's best for you and your friend and Madam McLean.
Well, you do already know that I don't necessarily consider myself a public servant, right?
Well,
we've had this discussion before.
Well, let me let you out on this one. Kent Goldthorpe joining us, ACHD Commissioner. Your thoughts on, what's going to happen with ranked choice voting? Will the Republicans unify, or is it welcome to California? What is it they call it? Idafornia? Do they call it that? Something like that. Somebody for 2 weeks did shirts on that, or Idaho or something.
I hope that whole issue and that whole proposition, initiative gets ground into the dirt.
Well, I didn't ask you what you hope. I asked you what you think.
Well, I think it's going to fail because I don't think that Idahoans, by and large, are that dumb, but I do worry that they don't get informed.
Well, if they did, we'd have more listeners on this program.
That's true.
Because,
that
you know,
is very true. So now you've scared me more than ever.
If you're a dummy, you listen to other shows or those decadent podcasts.
Yeah, those guys that never get asked to come to New York for any awards. I know those guys.
Yes, they're still mad. They're mad that they won't get to pay their own way to New York to sit there and lose again. But what the heck? Thank you for that, Ken.
Well, you and I have had that discussion. I think it's just a shame that you have to pay your own way for this.
Well, Kent, let's just let that go, Kent. Let's just let that go.
Okay.
Now you've got me on the ropes, but I will think of you while I'm having a martini, which I don't drink. So in Midtown Manhattan, I'll have a milkshake for you there in Times Square.
That'd be good.
All right, Kent Goldthorpe, we so appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. See you now.
See ya. Our great friend Kent Goldthorpe. Rob Studebaker coming up. We're going to talk about what you can do to help out the Idaho Humane Society and the West Valley Humane Society. Working for you, Kevin Miller in the morning. KIDO Talk Radio Traffic. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Again, here's more with Dave about that fire over by Harris Ranch.
Good morning, Kevin. From the G&G Insulation Studio on the freeway out of Canyon County into Ada County. We're looking good. Getting busy now for a Friday morning. Working an injury accident in Caldwell at Chicago Street right near Boise Avenue. And parts of Warm Springs Highway 21 closed down because of that Foothills fire. Parking lot party going on today, celebrating National Taco Day at Spitfire Tacos and Tequila and Eagle. Tacos, live music, and 50% off tequila flights. National Taco Day today from 3 to 10 at Spitfire Taco and Eagle. That's your traffic now. I'm Dave Burnett on KIDO Talk Radio.
Treasure Valley Subaru. How are you today, sir?
The Kevin Miller.
Something like that. Something of that nature, sir.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Rob is the famous guy that we catch on television all the time. What's the name of that dog with the dress code on the commercial? Larry, is it? Timmy? Billy?
Well, I'll give you a little insight.
Charlie.
It's Charlie.
Charlie!
And Charlie, between you and me, Kevin, don't tell anyone, but Charlie's a female.
You know something? I know a very special Charlie that's a female in my life, so I'm all about Charlies that are female. So
she is very special to you. Well said.
Yes. If not, she'll give me a judo chop. And
you'll deserve it.
Yes, I will. A lot of folks are deserving a lot of attention, and that's where you come in. Big event this weekend, helping out the Idaho Humane Society. And, of course, they're doing some great work helping out the West Valley Humane Society. Rob, what's going on?
They are doing great work. You know, they're giving voice to the voiceless. I was thinking about this morning. You know, I didn't always think of, dogs and cats and animals this way. I grew up on a farm. And, they were more for the use of the family and the community. But they really do become our family, and our pets become, our loved ones to a certain degree. So anyway, they're giving voice to the voiceless, and we love what the Idaho Humane Society does. And they've got a big event this Saturday that we're trying to pump up and get as many people to as we can and drive dollars for that great organization.
Yeah, Sea Spot Walk that has been going on for years and years. You can bring your dog, hang out, have a good time. And really the proceeds benefit the Humane Society, which they're jumping in and helping our friends in West Valley who, God bless them, need some help, and it's nothing against them. They have good hearts, but limited resources, so that's where this event comes in.
Yeah, Canyon County definitely needs a shelter, and they're doing their best to put them back together. And clearly, Ada County needs a shelter, and the Idaho Humane Society's been around a long time and has been doing great work. And so Sea Spot Walk. Thousands of pets will be there. I think somebody said 2,000 pets, which surprised me. I've been there and it didn't seem like that many, but a great time if you have a dog or not. A place to go with your family. They got vendors and they have some folks will be on stage they've got prizes.
Here, let me help you out, brother, because I actually did some research on this one. You're the talent. You're the talent on this this spot. So, Sea Spot Walk tomorrow, October 5th, Julia Davis Park, 10 a.m. The official welcoming and announcements, contest signups that closes at 10:30. The dog walk begins At 11:30, they have the contest kickoff. 12:25, the Alumni Pet Parade, and 12:30, wrap up and thank you. All courtesy of our friends at the Idaho Humane Society, whether it's dogs, whether it's cats. 32 years of C-Spot Walk, and, you know, one of the cool things about where you are is sometimes you have dogs running all over the place.
Yeah, well, they're very much invited at Treasure Valley Subaru. We like to have dogs, and I often will have 10 dogs in our showroom. And then sometimes there won't be any, and the customer's like, "Where's all the dogs?" Well, they'll be here.
Yeah.
But they do have one contest I thought was a lot of fun, where the dog has to lick the owner holds a spoon of peanut butter in their mouth, and the dog has to lick the peanut butter off the spoon, and the dog that licks the peanut butter off the spoon the quickest gets the prize. And so we've got some cool prizes. We've got a Chubaroo that we're giving away, some other Subaru swag that we've given to the Humane Society to give away, and our own KC will be there as a judge for some of the events. Oh, one of the events is the look-alike contest, where you know, the person who looks most like their pet will win a prize. Anyway, lots of fun stuff like that.
Only in Idaho. By the way, the Idaho, and they will remind you that they are Idaho's Humane Society, so they service the entire state. They serve over 10,000 animals in need every year. And one of the great things is you can do payment programs, you can adopt, they can help you sometimes when you need food. They're always there, and the way they pay for that is through events like this, which you guys are supporting.
Yeah, veterinary services. I mean, they're the best of the best. They're doing great things. I would say if you've got the time on Saturday, it's not a long event. You won't be there too long. And you know what's cool is it's a beautiful time of year to be in Julia Davis Park. You know, on Saturday, and it's pregame, so it's going to be fun.
We appreciate that. Rob Studebaker, Treasure Valley Subaru, C-Spot Walk, October 5th, Julia Davis Park. Become a sponsor. Help out our friends with the Humane Society. Thank you for coordinating this so we can have them on next hour.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, and I love doing charitable work with you. You are a gift from God for all of us that do want to do charitable work. Thanks for giving a voice to that. Thanks.
Thank you, Rob. You take care, brother.
Take care.
Okay, 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. We are continuing to cover this issue involving what's going on in North Carolina. Remember, Secretary Mayorkas said this just 3 months ago when it comes to money.
Is tremendously prepared. This is what we do. This is what they do. And the key here, Rebecca, is also to make sure that the communities who are potentially impacted are prepared as well. And it's not just hurricanes and wildfires, also extreme heat, which certainly some parts of the United States are already experiencing.
So here we have Secretary Mayorkas 3 months ago saying that, quote, FEMA is prepared. FEMA is ready to go. FEMA has all the resources. Really? This is what he said yesterday. FEMA's run out of money.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
So FEMA has run out of money? Joining us now is Ron Grant.
Paid for by Ron Grant, your safer money specialist.
And unlike the federal government or FEMA, we can't go back when we run out of money. Ron, good morning.
Hey, good morning. No, we can't, buddy. We got to make sure we have enough money to live on. You know, Kevin, I meet with a lot of new people, and most people are going to outlive their money for three reasons. Number one, they didn't start putting money away early enough. Number two, they didn't put enough away. But number three, and this is a big offender, they stayed in risk too long. And what do we know about risk? Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, variable annuities, et cetera, et cetera. You know, my clients and I, we sleep at night knowing that we have a lifetime income that we can't outlive, and when we passed away, our beneficiaries will get the balance. It's so important to prepare for retirement, to have an income source that you can live on, to take care of yourself. That's your dignity money. That's the money that you worked hard for.
Well, I don't know if it's too late to help FEMA, but if people want help from you, Ron, what can they do?
Pretty simple. First of all, they can go on my website. I've got a great educational site that I've designed. There's articles there that they can read. There's videos there that they can take a look at. Heck, there's even a book they can download, 10 Things to Know About Retirement Income. And then they can email me from the site. Or let's have a conversation right here in the Treasure Valley. We want to talk about that longevity planning, and that's something that's important. So give me a call, 208-660-1372, and let me help you get a lifetime income that you can't outlive.
Ron Grant, you have a great weekend. Thank you.
You too, buddy. Stay safe.
Paid for by Ron Grant, your safer money specialist.
Well, where do we go from here? All right, let's keep it on the money theme, and we'll go back to the red light cameras. Kevin Bell in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. By the way, again, Haunted World returns. We have a complete preview of that event in Caldwell on our website, KIDOTalkRadio.com. If you're an Appy App Club member, you would have gotten that alert. I believe you'll get that alert this morning. No, you got it yesterday. The Haunted World preview will be going out this morning. Phone numbers, and by the way, then you get the podcast as well. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. One more announcement before we get back to the sauce is Clay and Buck will be giving tickets to Boise State versus Utah State coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. We have thank you to the folks here at Local Management, gave us a couple pairs of tickets to give away. Next hour we'll do that as well. Here is what is the motto of that group they used to call the Boy Scouts? Now they call them the Scouts. Be prepared. Here is the guy in charge of FEMA saying that he's prepared 3 months ago.
Is tremendously prepared. This is what we do. This is what they do. And the key here, Rebecca, is also to make sure that the communities who are potentially impacted are prepared as well. And it's not just hurricanes and wildfires.
No, it's illegals. It's people coming into this country. It's Zelensky. It's just about name everything. Have we ever had an administration that's picked foreigners over Americans? That's what this administration has done. They have given the illegals, and we'll have the sound for you coming up here. They actually have the sound of people in New York City where they don't have any hot water. The illegals are in the hotels. And, again, we're going to New York City next week. I'm not really looking forward to it. And finding a hotel in New York City is incredibly expensive. It's just amazing to me that here we have this going on, and we've run out of money for the good people of North Carolina. And I never thought that we would come to a day, and again, I am not Alex Jones. Now, maybe when I first got here, you get the chickens rolling, if you will.
Oh, this is the best fried chicken, and I help.
Right. You stir people up because that's really the name of the game. If it bleeds, it leads. But because of you, because of learning and wanting to be here in Idaho, I've changed my act. I've changed my gig. And I'm sitting here taking a look at Mayorkas and everybody else. And basically what the federal government has done under Joe Biden, what's his name again?
Joe Biden.
Under Joe Biden has essentially decided that the American people are second-class citizens in their own country, and we've left people behind. We're leaving people behind right now.
Also extreme heat, which certainly some parts of the United States are already experiencing.
Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas sounding the alarm on FEMA funding right.
Right. There we have it. So there we have FEMA being prepared. Sean Hannity was talking about this yesterday on KIDO Talk Radio.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
Okay, so you've run out of money. Maybe you're one of the people that do budgets at work. Maybe you're one of the people that, are responsible for, making sure that payroll is met. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And by the way, let's go to the ground in North Carolina. Has FEMA been there? Has the National Guard been there? No, I heard about this from Clay and Buck yesterday where you have people flying their helicopters in. Their private helicopters. We have not forgotten our fellow Americans, but apparently the federal government has pieced out. Imagine, I hate to say this, brothers and sisters, what they would do to us.
We haven't seen FEMA. We haven't seen Red Cross. We haven't seen Hearts with Hands. We've seen no agencies come through here. Most people drive through with their cameras out, filming us like we're animals in a zoo, and don't stop.
They don't stop. You're animals in a zoo, no power. They've cut off Verizon. Sean Hannity yesterday on KIDO Talk Radio saying that they cut off Elon Musk's Starlink. And Starlink would have had, 20,000 Starlink things there. But they couldn't do that, quite frankly, because of Joe Biden and the FCC, the hated FCC. We'll get to them. Let's go to Pete in Garden City with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Pete.
Good morning, Kevin. Hey, with FEMA running out of money, it's typical communist whatever. We ran out of money. We need to just tax more. Well, be like any company. Be like, I know what, Trump. He was getting a lot of money when he got out of college, built it up to $900 million, lost almost all of it, but he used, like every American's going to do, use the bankruptcy laws to save what he could, and he learned from that, and he came back bigger, better, stronger. Why doesn't FEMA do that? However, they know they have the deep pockets of the people, and they can tax. In fact, with Starlink, the FCC said that Starlink didn't meet their requirements or whatever, but all of a sudden now they're like, oh, Starlink is a good idea. I mean, our government, we've turned into a banana republic.
Yes, we have. And now you have a lot of people saying they believe the lack of response to the folks in North Carolina is deliberate, which is odd because I would think you would want to super serve that. And, oh, by the way, the strike is over. So the Batman villain, the head of the union, I guess, is going to peace out until January.
Exactly, till January 15th.
Yeah.
And yes. It's very frustrating to me. I'm in my 60s, and I've lived, thank God I've lived long enough to see a little bit, and it's amazing where everything has gone to where we are taking care of the people who aren't. I mean, we've become just a welfare country. Let's just put it that way. If the illegals are having more rights, more federal money, more everything available to them. However, if you are a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen, you will be. There's so many ways for them to remove your money by way of taxes, as well as if you have. I'm not even going to. I'm just going to dip my toe in this one. Guns, and you're a law-abiding citizen. We're going to go in and take them from you, but we're not going to go and raid the apartments of the Venezuelan gangs that are taking over buildings and whatnot in other parts of the country.
Right. We're going to have the governor of Colorado say, oh, Aurora's a great place. I just went shopping there. Okay, buddy. Okay, bub.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Pete, it's funny. You talk to the younger people and they will say, the younger boomers and the older Gen Xers, we're the last generation that actually remember America when it was America, which is very sad. Yeah, and I talk to people my age about some of the young people, and it's amazing. I went to college, yada yada yada, and I would think that I remember hearing stories of Russia that people who work for the government were making more money than scientists and doctors who went to college for years, who were higher educated, and they were doing some great things. And here we are in America. All you need is a government job, and you will make more than the average person who is in private industry. I remember maybe 2015 or something, Rush Limbaugh, God bless him, said that our country had turned into a socialist country, and
and he described it this way, that when you look at the number of private to public employees, we've always had more public employees putting into the system because government does not produce a service or a product that is computable in the open market. And what happened at that point, 2014, 2015, if I remember correctly, we actually tipped the scales and had more public employees than we did private employees. So what was happening is that there were more people taking from the people who were paying into the system.
You know, you're right. And you know, as long as you do what the government says, you're going to be okay. But start standing up for yourself, Pete, and it's over.
Yep, exactly. And then when you get all these public employees, what happens? They want to be unionized. You know, I used to think unions are good, but there's enough laws on the books to protect people's jobs and that type of thing. And so now you have public employees that are represented by unions. So when they go up to renew their contract and they go up to the city council, and the city council gets, the city attorneys or whomever represents them. Well, the union, they just hire a law firm. Now, if you've ever been through any type of lawsuit, all you need to do is realize that when two lawyers get together, they sit there and talk about how they can squeeze more money out of both of their clients, and that's just what happens.
Yes, the Gilded Age of litigation. Pete, thank you for the call. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, joining us. Really appreciate you being along the conservative ride in today. Let's go to our great friend, Brandi Swindell from Stanton International, Stanton Health. How are you, ma'am?
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Thanks for having me on your show.
Boy, it's been a while. You know, I think you should change your name to Brandi Stanton. I almost made that thing Brandi Stanton. And I go, no, that's not her name.
Can I tell you, a lot of people do that. It's funny. A lot of people do that. I don't mind.
Yeah. I'm always, when people get a lot of attention, I'm always wondering, how this happened behind the scenes. So many people may or may not know that one of the most progressive publications in America, Cosmo, featured you years ago. It seems like it was just yesterday, and it wasn't really a hit job, or did I miss something on that when they did that profile of you?
No, Kevin, I'm so glad you brought that up. Can you believe that was 2016 when that came out? And and it was actually, Cosmopolitan would be, definitely more progressive, liberal, kind of, pro-choice type of a publication. It's a woman's magazine type thing. And they sent a reporter out to tour Stanton Healthcare, our life-affirming women's medical clinics, our one there in Boise. And she was with us for 2 or 3 days, interviewed staff, met with our clients, and wrote a 6-page article that was absolutely incredible. I mean, I couldn't have written it better myself. And it really was honest and non-biased and really shared the heart of our work and our clients. And, it was sprinkled with a few, pro-choice things here and there, which is fine, but it was a really good piece that represented us very well. We were very happy with it.
Yeah, for most of us that will never have that man-to-man coverage, what was that like having someone shadow you and then they'd say, okay, Brandi, we're going to go talk to this person, that person, and you couldn't choreograph it if you wanted to, but that's really opening yourself up.
It really is. It's always a risk when you invite a reporter into, your facility or into the work that you're doing, because sometimes, you can't always trust everybody. And sometimes there's a nefarious motivation or a biased agenda. And on this one, we were very thankful. We had this reporter was pro-choice. She was very open about that. But she gave us a fair shake. And what was really special, Kevin, is you can't orchestrate, things when a reporter comes in. And in fact, you never want to do that. And we're so confident in the work that we do and the women that we serve and the families we serve. We knew that our work would speak for itself and it would shine, especially if it was reported properly. And so that's what happened. And I have to tell you, there was a really special moment when this reporter was talking with one of our Stanton moms in our baby supply room as she was picking out baby supplies, baby clothes for the week for her little baby. And the client started just sharing some very heartfelt things about how Stanton had helped her. And it was so moving that the client started getting teary-eyed. And I look over and the reporter's getting teary-eyed because it was so genuine and it was so authentic. And there's no way this reporter could say anything negative about the work that we do.
And that is something, before we get into, again, Stanton in the news and everything else, for people that aren't familiar with your organization, Brandi, as you know, so many people moving into your homeland, your native land, Idaho. Tell us a little bit about Stanton. A lot of people want to help, and obviously Stanton is such a great organization to be a part of, to really make a difference from the very beginning.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for the opportunity to share and for always believing in our work and standing with the women and children we serve. So Stanton Healthcare, in a nutshell, we are a life-affirming women's medical clinic that specializes in serving women facing unexpected pregnancies. So teen moms, single moms, women from marginalized communities, refugee communities, or any woman of any age or background that is seeking well woman care, physical, mental, spiritual well-being surrounding their pregnancy. And so we provide quality medical care and services. We are a licensed, credentialed medical clinic. We provide tangible resources and wellness classes like Mommy and Me classes, labor and delivery classes, life coaching, pregnancy coaching. We have a baby boutique that has maternity clothes and beautiful handmade baby dresses and baby supplies, and we serve thousands of women on an annual basis, and we have 3 clinics, one in Meridian, our Stanton Healthcare Clinic, one in Boise, our Stanton Wellness Center, where we do a lot of our classes, and then we have our Stanton Mobile Clinic that goes out to rural communities and underserved communities. And it's just a beautiful outreach. We don't charge for any of our services, and we're really providing a great service to the women of Idaho.
And Brandi, if people want more information, what can they do?
Yes, please go to our website, stantonhealthcare.org, stantonhealthcare.org, and you'll get a lot of information about what we do, who we are. We're always looking for volunteers, financial supporters, people who are Stanton ambassadors, and spread the word about our work. And we're just really, we could not keep our doors open without the community support. We don't take any government funding, no state funding, no federal funding. It's all through private donations, volunteer hours, and support from the community.
And of course, the Catholic Church, as I'm sure other churches do it, where you have the baby bottle fundraiser every year too.
Yes, we love our annual baby bottle fundraiser. We do that every spring, and we have, Kevin, we now have over 70 churches, wow, including Catholic parishes, evangelical churches, that participate in our valley-wide baby bottle drive, and we go to the churches. We have teams that go out. It's on one Sunday every spring. We give a 10, 15-minute pro-life presentation on the work of Stanton Healthcare, testimonies of the women we serve, and a beautiful video. And then at the end of the service, we hand out baby bottles, empty baby bottles, and encourage people to take them home for 3 weeks, fill them up with spare change, cash or a check, and then bring those bottles back. And that's really our primary fundraiser of the year. And it's pretty amazing. We have kids take home baby bottles, and parents and families, and just everybody loves participating. And we'll get bottles full of change, and then we'll get some checks in there for, thousands of dollars. And it's been a great blessing to use that baby bottle drive, and really so that women know that they're not alone when they're facing an unexpected pregnancy, and that there is an entire community that is standing with them.
Our great friend Brandi Swindell joining us from Stanton Healthcare. Kevin Miller in the morning at KIDO Talk Radio. We've talked about the Dobbs decision and what it's meant for Idaho, and I know that you and the other pro-life groups really worked really hard for the trigger law to make that a resounding success. How has Stanton Health's life changed, considering you had Planned Parenthood throwing a fit when you guys would open up the crisis pregnancy centers in Boise and in Meridian, offering people a choice? Have they left the state, and how has that changed for you guys and crisis pregnancy centers in general?
Well, so since Roe was overturned and through, the Dobbs decision, we have certainly seen an increase in our client load and women seeking our services. And so we've been ready for Roe to be overturned. And in many ways, our work has not changed. Our mission is the same. It was the same before Roe. And the same after Roe was overturned, right? And our focus is always on meeting the needs of women and making sure that they have the support that they need to confidently carry their baby to term and either keep that child or place that baby for adoption to a beautiful family. And so our mission on one level has not changed. But since Roe was overturned, certainly our client load has increased, and we've seen beautiful outcomes in the services and programs we're able to provide to women. One thing that has been very significant, Kevin, since Roe was overturned, is that the abortion industry is very, very angry, and it feels as though they're almost out for blood. And one of the areas that they're going after specifically is the pregnancy center movement and centers like Stanton Healthcare. We've been sued by Planned Parenthood. That was pre-Roe, before Roe was overturned, before Dobbs. And thankfully we won that lawsuit. The judge dismissed it. But they've always been trying to sort of hassle us in the work that we try to do, which ultimately is not harassing or hassling us or bullying me personally. It's bullying the women we serve and trying to prevent them from accessing quality life-affirming care. But specifically, since the Dobbs decision came out and the ban went into place in Idaho, the abortion industry has been attacking us. They've been trying to shut us down. And most recently, Kevin, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk to you and your listeners about today. It's a really important conversation. The Idaho Medical Association is looking at passing a resolution this weekend. In fact, the IMA conference is this weekend, starts today, and the resolution is being proposed and authored by a very radical pro-abortion doctor here in the state of Idaho. And she is trying to pass a resolution that would restrict and prevent the work of Stanton Healthcare and life-affirming clinics throughout the state of Idaho. And what they're proposing to do is, number one, prevent the Idaho legislature and the people of Idaho, the good people of Idaho, from ever supporting the work of pregnancy centers. And so in this resolution, they want to mandate that the Idaho Medical Association will lobby. They're really kind of a lobbying group during the session, that they would lobby against any bill or legislation that would support the work of pregnancy centers. So that's a bullying tactic right there. I don't know who the IMA thinks they are, that they get to dictate what clinics get to operate and which ones don't, or which ones get funding and which ones don't. Second of all, in the resolution, they attempt to completely diminish the character of pregnancy centers. And if I have a second, Kevin, the statements they make are so defamatory that we've actually reached out to our legal team about it. Go ahead.
Brandi, we're going to do that. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to get your reaction. And again, it's like old home day with you here on KIDO Talk Radio. But a lot of people don't know that Elizabeth Warren really targeted Stanton and other crisis pregnancy centers, and what it's like to be in the crosshairs. Our great friend Brandi Swindell, not Brandi Stanton, although I do love that name, Brandi Stanton from Stanton Healthcare is with us. We will talk to her and take more of your calls next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. What's going to happen with David DeHaas? Of course, you can catch him Sundays at 9 on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. That's true. You cannot. Basically, you don't know what's going to happen, do you?
Right.
That happens with healing, too.
You were away for a while, and now you've returned.
I have returned. Hey, Kevin, have you ever thought about how important it is to blink your eye?
Yes.
We do it automatically without...
Yeah, especially, though, when it's like dry eye, and then right.
Yeah, no, it's important to blink your eye. Keep your eyes moist, and you can't go to sleep at night without shutting your eyes, right? Well, imagine for a moment they find a benign tumor behind your left ear. And when they take it out, they cut some nerves and muscle, and your left side of your face droops and twists like an advanced form of Bell's palsy. You can't eat any food on the left side of your mouth without biting your tongue. Your left eye never blinks, and to go to sleep, you have to tape your eyelid shut. The million-dollar question, Kevin, is can anything be done to heal this problem? Conventional medicine says no. So you got to live with this for the rest of your life, this deformity. This is a true story. My dad lived with this problem for 15 years. Till one day, I talked him into doing a 10-day cleanse with colon hydrotherapy. He ended up doing 3 10-day healing retreats in a period of 3 years. One day, in the middle of the third retreat, he walks in my office, pulls off his glasses, and he says, "Look at this." And he blinks for the first time in 15 years, and his face is now lifted and looks normal. What's the value of that, Kevin?
I have no reaction to that, sir. I have no reaction. That's amazing.
It is very amazing. I couldn't believe it myself. But, you know, you can't put a price on great health, can you? That's the power of healing with colon hydrotherapy. So this Sunday, 9 a.m., on the Living Waters Whole Body Detox Show, we will share the incredible story of my father's healing journey and also some unique things about how he raised us kids. And there are some amazing, hilarious, unbelievable stories of how we grew up with my amazing dad and the story of his healing. So it's a pretty cool story.
That is Sunday at 9. David DeHaas, we always appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, our great friend David
Paid for
DeHaas.
by Living Waters Wellness Center.
Appreciate that, Bo. We're rolling. Back to Brandi Swindell joining us from Stanton Healthcare. Not Brandi Stanton, although that could be like a superhero named Brandi Stanton. But anyway, I get distracted. You know, for a lot of folks, though, when we left the last segment, we were talking about Elizabeth Warren after the Dobbs decision. And, you know, she's no spring chicken. She's no lightweight when she starts saying we need to stop crisis pregnancy centers. As someone at the forefront of this movement, not only in Idaho, but especially around the world and around the country, what went on in your mind, and how do you battle one of the most powerful liberals in Congress?
Oh, Kevin, I'm so glad you brought this up because it's one of my best memories of how we stood up to Elizabeth Warren, because you're right. She's, you know, she carries some weight when she speaks, especially in certain circles, and she's very extreme on her radicalized abortion beliefs. And so when Dobbs came out, Roe was overturned, she was one of those people just full of vitriol and angry, and she decided to turn it on pregnancy centers around the nation and said that we should be shut down. If we don't recommend and advertise for abortions, we should be fined $100,000. She said on national media platforms that were fake clinics. So our team discussed it, and we shared these comments with some of our clients. And Kevin, you know the biggest offenders of our work? It's the clients we serve. It's the women. It's the Stanton moms who have been helped through the work of Stanton Healthcare. And so 3 of our moms said, we want to use our stories. We want to fight back. What can we do? So we flew to Washington, D.C. with 3 of our Stanton moms and their babies, and we went right to Elizabeth Warren's office. And our campaign was not fake to me. And our clients basically were saying, Senator Elizabeth Warren, look into our eyes and look into the eyes of our Stanton babies and tell us that we received fake care from Stanton Healthcare, which, of course, Elizabeth Warren can't do. Our Stanton moms did a beautiful job. They read their letters and their stories to the staff of Elizabeth Warren and talked about how they didn't receive fake health care. They didn't receive fake ultrasounds. They didn't receive fake diapers. They didn't receive fake baby formula. The list went on and on and on of all the tangible resources and real life-affirming health care that they received that changed their life and saved the life of their child. And you know what, Kevin? You can't argue with that, even if you're Elizabeth Warren.
I certainly agree with you, and we admire their courage and your courage. Brandi, I know there are certain things you want to get across, so I'll save my final question for some issues that you wanted to share with us here on KIDO Talk Radio.
Well, thank you, Kevin. You have such a wonderful platform, and you're always so generous to share it when something really important comes up, and Stanton is facing something pretty important, and our moms are facing something pretty important, and we need the urgent help of your listeners, and we're trying to create awareness. As I was saying a little bit earlier in the previous segment, the Idaho Medical Association which, by the way, I do want to clarify, is made up of a lot of wonderful medical professionals and doctors throughout the state of Idaho. But like any organization, they can be infiltrated by extremists, and that's sort of happening right now. There's some very radicalized pro-abortion doctors that are trying to push a resolution to prevent the work of pregnancy centers like Stanton Healthcare throughout the state of Idaho. And they're using this resolution process to try and prevent the Idaho legislature from ever supporting the work of Stanton Healthcare. And they are trying to diminish our work by making very false and defamatory statements about who we are. Kevin, in this resolution that they're going to discuss today, actually, and we're sending our director of clinical services, Samantha, she's a physician assistant, to speak on behalf of our organization and on behalf of our medical doctor and several other doctors throughout the state of Idaho that are life-affirming and believe in pregnancy center work. She's going to speak and oppose this legislation today, this resolution today. And they may be, if it doesn't get pulled today, they may vote on it on Sunday. And this resolution says that we're fake clinics. It says we're not. It says that centers like Stanton aren't credentialed. Kevin, we are third-party accredited, which means we have more accreditation than even Planned Parenthood does. We have the same medical credentialing that urgent cares have throughout the valley, primary health cares. We have the exact same third-party accreditation, which means we have a very high standard of medical excellence. It actually takes 2 years to get this accreditation, and we got the accreditation and passed with flying colors. We have a medical director that's an OBGYN. He's been an OBGYN for over 30 years. I mentioned Sam, our director of clinical services, who's on site. We have credentialed registered nurses. We have credentialed sonographers. We have incredibly wonderful trained client advocates that go through a rigorous training process. We adhere to all licensing standards here in the state of Idaho. We are a reputable clinic that provides phenomenal care. So that's lie one in the resolution. They say that we manipulate women and give false information. Completely untrue. Women, when they seek our services, they know that we're life-affirming. It's posted in our waiting room that we don't provide, refer, or recommend abortions. In the paperwork they sign, the intake paperwork, it says we are life-affirming at Stanton Healthcare. We don't provide, refer, or recommend abortions. And our waiting rooms are full, and our exam rooms are full, Kevin, because women seek life-affirming care when they're facing an unexpected pregnancy. There's a false argument out there that every woman facing an unexpected pregnancy automatically wants an abortion. So, and there were many other lies. And Kevin, the lies are so false and defamatory. We've reached out to our legal team, and if this resolution moves forward and gets passed on Sunday, we are looking at legal options because this is designed to prevent the work of Stanton. And you know what, Kevin? This isn't simply an attack on me or an attack on Stanton Healthcare. Ultimately, this is an attack on the women we serve. This is anti-woman, and this is anti-healthcare.
Our great friend Brandi Swindell joining us here from Stanton Healthcare. Kevin, middle of the morning. And I have my one big question for you in a moment, but, I think a lot of us don't understand the cost and expense when you have to go to court that takes away from the most precious care that you provide to these mothers and to these babies. That can't be expensive. And regardless of who we are, lawsuits at the very minimum are very stressful.
They're stressful and they're distracting. And you're right. There's expenses, the time. Our work is already intense because we put all of our efforts, all of our resources, all of our time into providing the absolute best care to women and children in need in our community and throughout the state and beyond. And that's where all the energy needs to go with our volunteers, our medical staff. It all needs to go towards pouring into the lives of these women that we serve who are seeking our services. And so these lawsuits, they're distracting, they're bullying attempts, they're harassing. And so we want to avoid any type of legal action. But when it comes to trying to prevent women from seeking the services we provide, we have to fight that. And so, again, our hope is that the leadership of the IMA, the good doctors within the Idaho Medical Association and other medical professionals see this resolution for what it is, that it's extreme, that this doctor presenting it, who is very pro-abortion, that she is acting as a lobbying arm of Planned Parenthood in the abortion industry, and that, the Idaho Medical Association should be supporting diverse healthcare and life-affirming women's healthcare. They shouldn't be restricting it and dabbling in it in any way. So we're hoping and believing that the good doctors within the IMA oppose it. And I want to ask your listeners right now, reach out to the IMA and let them know you oppose this resolution that would restrict the work of pregnancy centers. And if you want it, Kevin, I have the number if people want to call the IMA and stand with Stanton and oppose this resolution.
Sure. Please go ahead, Brandi.
Okay, so your listeners can call, and I'm really inviting your listeners to do this. Again, not for me, not just for Stanton and other pregnancy centers. Do this for the women of Idaho. They can call 208-344-7888. So it's 208-344-7888. And just leave a message and let the IMA know that you stand with Stanton, you stand with the pregnancy centers of Idaho and the women of Idaho, and you oppose any resolution that would restrict the work of pregnancy centers. The actual resolution number is 10524. Resolution number 10524. And Kevin, I know we're running out of time, but I have messages from a few of our clients that they wanted me to share with you and your listeners and to the doctors of the IMA that express how much our clients and our Stanton moms love Stanton Healthcare and the care that we provided to them, and how troubled they would be if a resolution like this passed. How can I really say no to you? But if you can give me, a couple, and I'll save my question for the next time, and there will be a next time, but obviously this is very important, Brandi, so please go ahead. Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. This is from Audrey, and she wanted me to share this with you and with your listeners. Hi, my name is Audrey, and I am a 24-year-old mom of two. I first went to Stanton Healthcare after I found out I was pregnant with my eldest daughter. When we found out we were pregnant, we were incredibly scared. I initially heard about Stanton through a radio ad. My husband and I know with confidence that God led us to Stanton. In a season of life where everything felt uncertain, Stanton was there to support us. From the moment we walked in, we felt welcomed and cared for. We were provided with all the information needed throughout my pregnancy. They provided ultrasounds where we got to see our precious daughter. Even after my daughter was born, they continued to support us as we struggled through seasons of financial difficulty. And Stanton is the reason that my daughter remained fed and healthy. They have provided us with formula, diapers, wipes, and so much more, all at absolutely no charge. The guidance that Stanton has given us throughout our pregnancy and beyond has built our confidence as parents. And I challenge anyone to look into my beautiful daughter's eyes and tell her that the care she received was not real. Stanton and other pregnancy resource centers like it are very real to the moms and children who have received care from them. I pray that above all, your eyes are open to the importance of these support centers in our community. My story is not unique. Daily, countless women face unexpected pregnancies. Many women are in far worse positions than I was when I found Stanton. And with the support of Stanton and other pregnancy resource centers, these women are able to raise our next generation with confidence. Thank you, Stanton mom Audrey. Is that amazing, Kevin? It is, and that's the difference that Stanton Healthcare makes. Brandi, one more time, your website and the phone number, please. Absolutely. StantonHealthcare.org. StantonHealthcare.org. Our phone number is 208-855-5095. And again, call the Idaho Medical Association. Tell them that you stand with Stanton and pregnancy centers throughout Idaho and the women of Idaho, and you oppose any resolution that would restrict the work of pregnancy centers. And that number is 208-344-7888.
Brandi Stanton, Brandi Swindell, thank you.
God bless you, Kevin. Appreciate you, and I'll give you a call next week and give you an update.
We'd be more than happy to have you back, ma'am. Take care.
All right. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. All right. Coming up next, how you can help our friends at the Idaho Humane Society and, of course, our friends at Stanton Healthcare. KIDO Talk Radio Traffic. Hello, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the G&G Insulation Studio. On the freeway, we're looking pretty good to have an accident working on the 10-mile overpass, so watch for that in the northbound lanes. You're going to have to move to the left-hand side. And Warm Springs, Highway 21, you do have that closure right there at milepost 3 as they continue to work that grass fire. It's a parking lot party today from 3 till 10, celebrating National Taco Day at Spitfire Tacos and Tequila and Eagle. Tacos, live music, 50% off tequila flights today at Spitfire Tacos and Eagle. That's your traffic now on KIDO.
Got a little cold here. Nothing to worry about. The mission continues. Lucille, hang on. We are going to get to you and give you all the time in the world. First, Kristine Shellhouse joining us from the Idaho Humane Society, one of our favorite groups that does so much. Kristine, thank you for your patience. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? I guess you got a cold, huh? That's not great.
Well, you know how it is, though. The real people that work outside and, you know, the real people that work with you, they drive on. So we're trying to honor their spirit. But you've got
just keep going. That's right.
Well, thank you. And you have a big event going on. Now, before we get to that, I know you all are helping out the animal shelters. You are the Humane Society for the entire state of Idaho. Obviously, you're doing some work with the West Valley. How is all that going, and how can people help you?
Yeah, you know, it's been a huge challenge for us because the Caldwell shelter was pretty near closing, and they had so many animals. They just were living in crates in their hallways, and they were double kenneled, and it's not good for the people who work there or the animals that are in the building. And so we never want to see any kind of situation like that happen. So we've stepped in. I think we've taken almost 200 animals. I know we just took in another load yesterday. And so we have closed our doors temporarily to transfers outside of Caldwell. Normally we're transferring animals all across Idaho every single day into our shelter. And so this way what we're doing is focusing on really turning over and helping their shelter get on their feet again, retraining their employees. We opened up their adoption so that people can walk in now and adopt instead of having to make appointments. We're removing barriers. So if you have a stray pet, you can actually just walk down there and go get your pet instead of having to fill forms out and make appointments to pick your pet up. And we've taken a great number of their animals to do surgeries on, just including spays and neuters, and any, urgent care that comes to their doors. They started opening up again for injured cats and sick cats, which they were formerly closed off to. So lots of really wonderful progress coming along, but, we still have a long way to go in order to get them really where they need to be. But we're super excited about the progress we've made. I think their employees are excited. We are not formally in charge of West Valley Humane Society. I just want to make that clear. They're their own entity. We're we made an agreement with Best Friends Animal Shelter. So Best Friends is providing some funding to West Valley to help them through this speed bump in the road. And we are just trying to be there in a leadership position to do what we can to help.
No, I totally agree with you. And as you know, whatever we could do, let's talk about the big fundraiser, big fun going on in Boise tomorrow.
Yes, our annual Sea Spot Walk. If you've never been, it is so much fun. The leaves are just starting to change, and it's just usually a beautiful morning. I can't imagine it would be anything else other than perfection tomorrow. So if you haven't registered, you could register at seaspotwalk.org. And, all the funds go to really help us on our mission. And really that's going to just get put into all of the programs that help homeless animals. So the kickoff for the walk starts at 10. It's a 1 mile leisurely stroll. If you don't want to walk, Kevin, you don't have to. You can just say, and it's at Julie Davis Park in downtown Boise. You can check out any of the vendors that are on site. And we do have some contests after the walk. So it's a really great family event. But, if you don't have kids, if you don't have pets, no problem. Just come down and visit us. You get a great T-shirt. And it's we got food trucks in the park, so you can come get some coffee, you can grab some breakfast, grab some lunch, whatever suits you.
Well, it's such a great event, and over 30 years in the Treasure Valley, and all that money goes to help fund the Idaho Humane Society, of course, to allow you to help other shelters like our friends in Caldwell. Kristine, obviously, what else can people do to help?
You know what? We really are desperate for pet food. So we have absorbed all of the people from Canyon County in our pet food pantry. And our pet food pantry used to distribute about 3,500 pounds a month in pet food. And we have doubled that every single month. And so we are really desperate to help get pet food. And the reason we have our pantry is we want to see pets stay in their loving home. We understand that people are hitting a financial speed bump in life, and we want to be able to help keep those pets fed. So if you are involved with a church, a school, or any kind of group, or even your work team, and you want to host a pet food drive, we have a way that you can get involved. You can just click on our support tab. There's a drop-down box, and then you can fill your information out. We'll even come pick up the pet food from you when you're done. So we would love to see this winter tons of groups and organizations supporting pets in the Treasure Valley by just asking their friends and family, and maybe even hosting a little friendly competition between groups to do a pet food drive.
Well, Ed, obviously you and I have been talking about this, so I'm saying this on the air, so please hold me to this. We will be in touch to do that not only in the fall but throughout the winter. That's the least we could do. And I know you don't like getting up early, but we'd love to come back to your facility. Look, listen to me. I don't love getting up early, but we would love to come back to your facility and really.
We'd love to have you.
Well, thank you. And really, I mean, it's you, me, and the security guard. We don't even have the tech anymore, so it'll be very exciting for all of us. However, it is so important. Your website, and again, see Spot Walk, obviously, but food drives. Do you need volunteers? Anything else that people can do to help you?
You know, even $5 a month really makes a difference. It all adds up truly, because when Betty White had passed and everyone had given $5 in remembrance of her, we made over $37,000. So if people set up a $5 auto pay each month to just donate to our charity, you can sign up on our website, idahohumanesociety.org, and set up just a $5, $10 a month donation. We will move mountains with that money. It will give us so much funding to just change lives for animals in need.
Well, Ed, I want to thank you, the volunteers and the staff, not only at your facility, but throughout the state of Idaho and throughout the country. You guys really have a servant's heart. So, Kristine, thank you. And, as you know, I'm a big admirer of your work and what you guys do. So thank you again.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, our great friend, Kristine Shellhouse, joining us. Help out the Idaho Humane Society. Again, we want to thank our friends at Treasure Valley Subaru that are working with those folks as well. God bless them, and please do what you can. Let's go to our friend Lucille, who's been very patient. We appreciate you, young lady. Thank you for joining us, and good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. Got a cold, have you?
Yes, I get the older I get, I guess the more colds I get. But thank you for noticing. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I hope to get better, Kevin. Seriously, I just wanted to thank you for giving Brandi a voice. She is an admirable woman. I want to thank her for giving a voice to little children little unborn babies who do not have a voice, who are defenseless and cannot plead for their own lives. So I want to thank you for that, Kevin. And I am astonished that Planned Parenthood would actually go against these people. Nobody goes against Planned Parenthood, Kevin. Why do they have to go against? I mean, those are the real threat to our democracy, because they do not allow dissent. And a democracy thrives on different opinions. And I couldn't help being, amused by Elizabeth Warren, who says that Brandi's organization manipulates women. And what does Planned Parenthood do? They manipulate women. It's your body. It's your power. No, your body's carrying another little body. Oh, no. According to, Planned Parenthood, Brandi's organization gives out false information. Oh, indeed. And what does Planned Parenthood do? Oh, it's just a clump of cells who can't fend for themselves, so you can get rid of it. No, it's not just a clump of cells. it is a human life. And if it can't fend for itself, it's because you don't let it. Incidentally, Elizabeth Warren's brain is also a clump of cell who does not seem to work very well. So are we to get rid of it, Kevin? I hope not.
Well,
I'm not advocating for that.
And you look at Brandi Swindell, who for years has, championed this organization. It's just amazing that it started here in Idaho. And I can remember when Planned Parenthood was trying to run them out and all sorts of things. And now you have, the question I didn't get to ask her was that you have the major medical establishment aided by the media that are, saying that all the doctors are leaving Idaho.
And who is giving the false information, Kevin? Who is misleading? Projection. That's all they do. And you know what, Kevin? They are, I want people to understand this very well. They are the real threat to democracy because they do not allow dissent. They do not allow differing opinions. They do not allow people to do that. Tell me, Kevin, who stands against Planned Parenthood physically in the sense of saying, you can't do this, we're going to close you. People who go and pray in front of it, those are not threat. They are threatened by the pro-choice people who beat them up and take them to prison. So who really here is a real culprit, Kevin? You tell me.
Well, you're right. And then you have the Biden administration throwing people in prison, fathers for praying outside Planned Parenthood.
Exactly. And if that is not the epitome of a dictatorship, I don't know what is. Imprisoning people for speaking their mind, for just praying outside. It's not that they're picketing, it's not that they're shouting, insults at Planned Parenthood, they're praying. That is the epitome of dictatorship, Kevin, imprisoning people for speaking their mind. And those are the real threat to our democracy, and that is why it is imperative that we, defeat these people in November. Please, I beg my fellow Americans, please go out and vote conservative. Do not be complacent. Do not be complacent. Do not think that bad things cannot happen in the United States and in Boise. Look what's happening in the UK, Kevin. People are getting in prison for speaking their minds.
Oh, I agree. Lucille, thank you for the call. Quick break. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Pair of tickets to Boise State versus Utah State. Want to make sure you are listening the entire time. 580-5436, caller 17 and caller 20. You're going to go courtesy of Kevin Miller and KIDO Talk Radio. Here we have it. The man who is going to be, from what I understand, the czar of the red light cameras in Boise. It's our own Lee Joe, not to be confused with his given name, Leroy.
Oh, there you go. In response to Ken Goldthorpe, calling me some kind of a scofflaw and what have you, just, if you're willing to surrender your rights for security, we've been warned about that by the Founding Fathers.
If you're willing to bend the knee is what you're saying. Bend the knee.
Exactly. Bow to your masters, which goes immediately to an incident I had 5 minutes ago with two highway patrolmen here down on Warm Springs. I've got a job up there, and they've shut the road down. And the first thing they do is start yelling and saying, you can't get through here unless you're a federal contractor, and we're going to arrest you for obstructing and blah, blah, blah. It's like all the videos you see of thuggery and abuse, and it's two highway patrollers just doing their job. Well, that's not what they're doing. They're power tripping. That's what these two guys right this minute are doing, is power tripping.
So they started yelling at you?
Absolutely. And it was like the first thing. I said, hey, I've got equipment up there that I want to make sure is out of the path of the fire. Unless you're a government contractor, you turn around or I'll arrest you for obstructing. Oh, well, there you go.
What's the deal with why everybody's got to be a tough guy? I guess I gave up being a tough guy after 89, so I don't know.
They're young and dumb, and that's how that works. And they're state employees, so they're there for the pension, not to do the job.
So they're state troopers?
So, yes, these are state troopers.
Well, you know, the colonel used to listen, but he retired, so I don't know if the new colonel listens.
I don't know either, but it's just disgraceful watching guys like this, do their big macho power trippy thing. And this is what I'm talking about.
Well, I think it's because you were
training problem.
I think it's because you were intimidated by them. They were much more manly than you.
Oh no, that's not how that worked out. I spoke my mind.
I know. Oh, did you? What did they say to you? And what was their response when you said that?
Well, I explained to them, I have equipment that I want to get away from the sagebrush and stuff so that we don't lose it. And that's it. They're over the top right now. You can't explain anything to them. It's their way or the highway, and they will be obeyed. And it's a training issue. They're just over the top. The Idaho Post must be turning out little Nazis or something.
No. You can't, that's a little too much.
Okay, well, when you have to bow to the government and they have no respect for your rights or what you're saying or even let you finish a sentence, what is it we're talking about here?
Yeah.
We're talking about the state using fascist tactics to shut you down.
Well, no, they're controlling an area because it's dangerous.
The fire is many, many miles away from here. They're doing one of those overcautious government bureaucracy things like they're doing with FEMA right down in North Carolina right now. They've shut down whole areas to the people who are getting in and bringing relief. And FEMA is going to take over, and FEMA is going to take care of it. And FEMA is actually confiscating the supplies coming in because they're better at redistributing things.
Well, FEMA ran out of money.
Everything that the government says it does is they are incompetent at. You can't believe, that FEMA actually manages an emergencies. They make it worse every time they show up. And ask the people that are there. Judges. We've got a judge who almost automatically gives custody to abusers in Boise, right here in Boise right now. There's 7 families doing basically a class action suit to get her off the bench. We're out of control. Your government is out of control. And I know we're supposed to bow to law and order, but this form of law and order has gone too far. And, if you bend the knee, it will just continue. It literally will continue. And so now, Judge Wagner is probably going to be reelected to the bench because folks, we need to be aware that our government is failing in every aspect at every level.
All right, Lee Joe, thank you for the call. KIDO Talk Radio Traffic. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the G&G Installation Studio, traffic now still working that accident on the 10-mile overpass on the right-hand side. So move to the left if you're traveling northbound on 10 Mile. And also Warm Springs, Highway 21, still at milepost 3. They have closures there because they're working on that grass fire. That's your traffic now. I'm Dave Burnett on KIDO Talk Radio.
Thank you very much. More of your calls next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. By the way, your chance to win tickets, some more tickets, just listening to Clay and Buck for Boise State versus Utah State. Phone number is here, 580-5436-580 KIDO. I do want to thank everybody who is a fan of ours or contributor of ours on the KIDO Talk Radio Facebook and the Kevin Miller Show Facebook. We did ask a question. If you don't want to give us your thoughts on the air, you can always go there and take a look and a listen and let us know. We're going to do Boise reacts to the Boise mayor. The Boise mayor went to Africa. We also have a story on that Mayor McLean announced on Facebook. It was about a month ago, and that's why we have some great contributors here. Our friend Chris beat me to the story, and I'll probably do a follow-up, but the mayor of Boise going to Africa And some people are upset about that. And to me, I'm thinking, why not go vacation in Coeur d'Alene or what have you? But a lot of people want to do that. But we are talking about a couple of things, huge topics today. Most notably, we're yapping about the red light cameras nationally, Liz Cheney internationally, and what happens to Idaho if there's a major disaster, God forbid. That's a lot to talk about in an hour. So I could keep going, but then the show really would be all about ADD. So let's take a deep breath and figure out where we're going to go. This is the Channel 2 report on the meeting the other night concerning the mayor decreeing red light cameras in Boise.
Some red light violations.
2 red light cameras. As many of you know, as the public knows, this is something that many of our residents have asked us to look into. I'm really excited that we've gotten to this point because it's been a priority to do everything that we can to enforce red lights.
By the way, where did they do that? When did they have a public meeting on this? And that's really what I'm uncomfortable about. No, I don't want people running red lights. I think it's dangerous. I think it's horrific. I think it is extremely dangerous. But where were the folks? Did they have a petition? Did they do anything else? And then we have the comments of people within the city of Boise where they're saying the officers need not to be worried about the red lights. So this would make Boise the first city in Idaho to have red light cameras, which is really wild. So we'll quit playing with the buttons here. And you think about this, this is a pilot program. But then there were some comments from one of the spokespeople that we'll get to yesterday from the mayor that said this will allow officers not to be, these are my impression, not to be tied down with the traffic enforcement, if you will. Let's take a listen to see if I queued this up right.
In Boise, this is a tool that we would be able to use.
So this is a police officer here speaking out that the red light cameras would be great for them.
Use, number one, just to figure out what happened afterwards, which, again, helps us decide.
What happened afterwards, the dummy ran the red light, with all due respect, officer.
Our enforcement efforts and how that's going to look. But it can also help drive down crashes and violations as well.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of people when they do that, though, they're going to get rear-ended for the first year. So I guess it's pick your poison. And by the way, that was from Channel 2. Because we're multi-platform, multimedia, let's go to the report courtesy of Channel 7 that had a person from the mayor's office speak a little bit about this. Hopefully I queued this up on KIDO Talk
would
Radio.
Take photos of vehicles that run red lights to give drivers a warning or a citation.
Here we have the mayor's person.
So we'll be looking at those intersections that might be hard for officers to service and might be hard for them to get in and out of if they are.
What does that mean? Might be hard for officers to service? You're the police. And that was in the written statement as well. And Chris and KIDO, we're going to get to you in 2 seconds. Please be patient, sir.
Are going to be policing in a certain area, or we'll look at areas that we know are dangerous or have red light running problems and complaints.
Everybody, and this is a young, nice lady, but, she's trying to sell ice to Eskimos with this thing. And I'm thinking about this, and I'm going, okay, the officers why would they not be in these areas? And again, I'm not a police expert. We have great police experts, but you put a couple of police officers there, all of a sudden people don't run red lights. Let's go to the phones, and we go to Chris and KIDO. Good morning, sir. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you today?
I can do it with you. Great, sir. Great to have you on KIDO Talk Radio.
Well, praying for you to feel better. And, hey, regarding these, I call them the flashy cams, the traffic cameras. I used to live in San Diego back in the day, and they tried those there for a while. I think they were, manufactured in Arizona. But anyhow, one of the problems that we would notice, so I think you kind of mentioned something like this, is that people would know there's a camera at this light, and rather than, if they were starting to enter the intersection on yellow, they'd just slam on their brakes.
Yes.
And it would cause a lot of rear-end traffic accidents. And I remember the former mayor of San Diego, Roger Hedgecock, had a program. He'd fill in for us sometimes, too, there in San Diego, local program like yours, and it happened to him. And he's like, this is just garbage. It's the snacks of nanny-statism. And just cameras everywhere, surveillance. We don't live in a surveillance state. I'd like to think we would do the best that we can to not, make that come to fruition here. But anyways, I can see both sides of the argument, but it really does present a traffic hazard with a lot of people slamming on their brakes just to avoid getting flashed.
Well, that's amazing. I'm so glad you brought up Roger Hedgecock. What a great talk show host he was, and a mayor and all sorts of things. What a dynamic experience he brought to the EIB network.
Yes, indeed. Another thing I'll tell you about those flashy cams there is I was traveling through Arizona up into a town called Payson up in the mountains, and you come around, it's like a freeway speed, and then you're kind of coming into town, but as soon as you round the bend, before they even have a lower speed limit sign, this thing flashes you as you come around the corner doing the speed limit that was posted, and then they send you a ticket in the mail. It's just ridiculous.
Well, and here's the other thing. Why don't they have people, have a public hearing, but we're going to take the word of the mayor?
It's always
determined.
better if you could put it to the people.
Yeah.
For sure. And instead of just having somebody decree it, but that's liberal. Boise is like the blueberry and the tomato soup, just like Austin is to Texas. They always tend to surround the houses of tower, and government is where they worship. So I don't know. There you go. But one other problem that Roger had brought up as well is, you're supposed to, in our system of justice, have the ability to confront your accuser, which is where you can go to court, and as a police officer can show up there, and you guys can have it out in front of the judge. Here, there's no way to do that. It's just, here's a picture, and sometimes you can't even tell who's driving the car.
No, you're right about that. Finally, is KIDO done? I mean, you got all the development coming out there. You got Facebook. Of course, you got our friends at CS Beef. What's the KIDO report?
It's growing. There's a lot more restaurants and shops to go to. I mean, that's interesting. But, what are you going to do? If you're doing something right and people want to move here, growth and change is just going to be what happens. I don't know how you can really stop it at this point. The message has gotten out. It's a good place to be.
The KIDO, the last place where you can get property in the Treasure Valley, where you're not confined, but that is changing.
It is. Although they just built some new properties out off of Indian Creek, right off of the KIDO Road and Meridian Road intersect, and this place will go for like $800,000 in KIDO. So I was like, wow, guess we're really stepping up in the world.
Well, you are, and you had that flight of a lot of people from Eagle moved to KIDO several years ago. So you might be the new Eagle. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, brother.
I guess we'll find out.
Chris, God bless you. Thank you, sir.
You too.
Thank you, our friend Chris in KIDO. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. Sorry you're not feeling so well, a little under the weather. So, I had a cold about a week and a half ago, and it lasted about 6-7 days. It was very mild, so never got a sore throat out of it. So there's stuff going around, including another variant of COVID. But this deal with the red lights, after living here 29 years and seeing how the driving habits have changed here, I remember the days when you could go down Eagle Road or get on I-84. People were more courteous. They signaled young kids driving. They would signal no tailgating, things like that. Now you have a bunch of jackasses that have moved into the state, especially from California. And their habits came with them. And what I'm saying is that, you mentioned about, people slamming on the brakes like your previous caller did because they don't want to get a ticket for running a red light. Well, two things. Why weren't you going the proper speed limit, number one? Number two is who's the dumbass behind you who wasn't given a proper amount of distance? So you ask an officer that. Usually rear ends are caused by idiots that follow too closely. You're not following the normal rules of the road that you learn when you got your driver's permit. So, I blame the people out there for this. I really do. So that's my look at it. I've watched how Eagle Road has changed. I mean, you talk about red light runners. You could stick them on Eagle Road in Fairview, and you could fill the city's coffers with money from all the idiots that play follow the leader on left turns through the red light. 3, 4, 5, 6 cars. And the other thing, too, I mean, if you want to get more police out there, city officials, why don't you hire them and use them to do traffic enforcement on the corners? The other one is over here on Glenwood and State Street. And, you know, goes from one jurisdiction from Boise. As soon as you make a left turn going westbound on State onto Glenwood, it becomes Garden City. I've asked those people before. I've asked the Sheriff's Department about this. I've asked Garden City Police. How come you guys don't crack down on the red light renters? You know, either we don't have enough people or that's another jurisdiction. I get a whole slew of things that are totally illogical and nonsensical. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you know, Kevin, you have complained in the past about people tailgating, you going into work even early in the morning as you do.
Yes.
And it's gotten worse. I mean, I don't notice the tailgaters quite as bad, but heck, the people go zinging in and out of traffic on Eagle Road there because they want to get a few cars ahead of somebody else. It's just ridiculous. It really is.
And well, so are you in favor of the red light cameras or not? What say you?
Yeah, I actually am. The one thing I do agree with was when they ran that story the other day on the news, the ACLU was saying that they were against it because people who might have been borrowing somebody else's car would, you know, maybe get the ticket for the person who actually owned that car. Well, my comeback on that one is, ACLU, is if the cameras are set up properly and actually catch the driver's face and the person in the car on that date that ticket was issued, you know, and what percentage of people out there, think about this, what percentage of people are actually going to be loaning their car out to somebody else to drive to work and get one of those tickets? It's going to be very low. So I'm actually for it because it's gotten worse. I do not see, and I've noticed this for years, it's gotten worse. The crackdown on speeders on I-84, I mean, geez, coming back from the airport the other day, I mean, I'm just going, there are people flying by me at 75, 80 miles an hour going in and out of traffic. And it's just, and this is after the rush hour. Where's where's Idaho State Police for this?
Apparently they're telling Legio not to drive or something.
Well, you know, I do agree with Legio on some points because there are officers, and I've known a lot of them here from the Sheriff's Department here in Eagle, and just meeting certain ones, whether it be Boise Police, Garden City Police, just on a talking level. And there are some you can detect a bit of a roughness in them as far as, I don't want a Barney Fife or an Andy Taylor, but I don't want Joe Nazi either. You know, with that attitude bit that they, you know, and they bring that with them. A lot of these officers are coming from out of state. I've met a number of them. And they come from out of state, and they bring that attitude that everybody's bad as they were where you moved from out of San Diego or the Bay Area or Washington State or wherever it might be that you move from. I highly respect the police and law enforcement out there, as you do, Kevin. But there are, you know, some out there. We're not talking about just the bad apples. We're talking about there's a number of them. You know, and I have to say, though, folks, you got to also look at what happened with BLM and what they did to the police and what we had for a mayor here that went after, in Boise, that went after the police department there and found nothing at taxpayers' expense on top of it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with all this. So there's so many factors involved in what's going on here. But as far as just going to the basic part of this question on the red light cameras, yeah, I think we need to stick them up. I think we need to stick them up there at Eagle and Fairview, Glenwood, and State Street because people just don't remember how they learned how to drive, and they've let their bad habits come with them.
I agree,
Mark. You
Mark.
have a good day, sir. Hope you feel better.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you. Pro joins us now. Pro Life with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Yeah, well, just on a short sentence about red light cameras, I'm against them. I think that people will be slamming on their brakes and there'll be a lot more damage that way. But anyway, I want to talk about Melania Trump. She just published her memoirs, and in that memoir, she's talking about how she's pro-abortion. She's essentially saying, my body, my choice. Women get to make the final decision. Government should not be involved in making anything about the decision about the life. Now, what she's doing is denying the unborn child the right to the unborn child right to life. I mean, you know, soon as sperm meets egg, there's a new person on Earth, and she's just throwing that away. And then I was just reading an article here about President Trump. They asked him, and he responded, and he said, well, I told her, just go ahead and write what you really believe. And so he wasn't trying to tell her what to do. But here's the problem with this whole thing. It looks like they announced it, they let it go out right before the election. And I think that they did that so that they could say, well, we're just as pro-abortion, we're just for murdering the babies just as much as the Democrats are. So don't make up your decision about you're going to vote for based on the abortion question. And I don't like that. I think that's very manipulative for Melania to do that. And I don't know if the president had any, telling her when she's going to release her memoirs, but it's kind of really a complicated I'm not complicated, but it's a really problematic that she released it right now. And so I'm...
Well, I don't think anything is because of happen chance. Thank you for the call, Pro-Life. Eric in McCall with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Eric.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Yeah, just touching here on the red light cameras. We definitely need to do something about the driving habits that are getting out of control. But like anything, there are unintended consequences. And I noticed this nearly 20 years ago. We moved from Sacramento, and a few years after that, I had to go back to Sacramento for work, and I was just cruising through town, going to a restaurant or whatever I was doing, and I was just driving the speed limit and noticed that they had, since we had moved, put in these cameras. But I kept hitting the lights. I was going the speed limit, and every light I hit, and I was getting passed left and right by people speeding by me. And these people, they knew what was there. They knew that the lights were set up. This is a money-making scheme because they don't have to patrol the area, and they can catch people speeding lights, running lights, and it's a moneymaker. And I think that that tendency for it to be unpatrolled is lends itself to people speeding in that area, and so for that reason, I'm against the red light cameras. So, but if I can switch gears, Kevin, to FEMA, is that all right if I touch upon FEMA here?
Oh, Eric, we don't have any gears, so please go ahead.
I've kind of seen firsthand the inefficiencies that have taken place. I did a short stint with FEMA as a subcontractor after Hurricane Harvey, and we were out there for about 5 months in the Houston area, and the people that run it, that run FEMA, that are on the grounds, that aren't the professional people that they subcontract with. I don't want to say this too harshly, but they're not the most the smartest tools in the box, and so the people that make the decisions, they have a tough time being able to evaluate situations that are presented to them. I went to them many times trying to present ideas that went against the protocols that they needed to follow, and they made sense to me and the professionals that I talked to. In addition, they had a meeting once that was 2 hours away from where most of us live. We had to travel on a Saturday, which wasn't our normal work day. And they had this special meeting to tell us about some upcoming things. And we had all traveled there, a couple hundred of us, for them to tell us that they hadn't developed the ideas that they were changing yet. They hadn't developed that. And so it's very inefficient. My son was assigned recently to the lava fire as a subcontractor under FEMA. And the fire, he was assigned on a Thursday, and then they found out that the fire had grown out of NIFC land over to IDL land, so he had to sit in a hotel for 2 days, getting paid to do nothing because they had to rewrite the contracts. So this is the sort of thing that FEMA struggles with. It has some good intentions, but it's very inefficient. And so I think when you really need to look at how FEMA is run and how to bring that about, and I like what Trump's doing, trying to bring in Elon Musk, trying to help with some of these inefficiencies. And hopefully we can get him elected and get some more efficiency within some of the needed agencies within the federal government.
Eric, thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Chandler with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Chandler.
Hey, Kevin. Good morning. I want to talk about red light cameras. But first, to quote Lee Corso, not so fast.
Not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast. Two things. So one is I'm really interested to know the company that is behind the cameras and how the contract is scheduled, because there is a particular company that got busted. That equipment's expensive, so you got to generate a certain amount of money, and they were monkeying around with the times that the light stayed green and how long the yellow was on because it wasn't generating enough tickets. And somebody figured this out, sued them, took them to court, and they actually structured the contract with guarantees upon tickets that were generated. And if the tickets for quotas for areas weren't high enough, they would go in and change the delay time. So, you've been driving this light in the street for so long, and all of a sudden, after 5, 10 years, whatever, used to how many seconds, they cut it in half. So that's designed by purpose. The second problem with all this is I have received a red light camera ticket. It was in Beverly Hills, and on the little write-up piece of paper they got in the mail with my lovely picture, the officers listed as Xenon Porsche. So, no way to get out of it. I paid it. The problem was it wasn't really through the city of Beverly Hills and the police department. It was outsourced to some company, so I paid it. And somehow, the check went through. I have my bank records. Somehow it didn't get recorded by the company right. It went out to collections. I talked to collections. I gave them all the info. They said, hey, man, don't worry. We got it. Whatever. I'm sorry. I'm like, cool. I thought it was done. Then I get another letter in the mail from the city of Beverly Hills Police Department saying there's a bench warrant out for me for failing to pay this parking ticket. So I had to take a good part of my day to go to Beverly Hills City Hall and spend too much time to show that, look, I did pay this thing and please don't arrest me. So it's a really flawed process that's fraught with peril. And do you have any faith that Mayor McLean wouldn't do something shady like this to screw us over?
I think my record with the mayor is well documented. I'll stand on my record with Mayor McLean. Chandler, thank you for the call. You have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you. Don't forget our friends at Beacon Plumbing. They say stop freaking, call Beacon. They bring you Fox. How do I sound, Bob?
Well, you sound pretty good. You sound like you're on your way to New York City.
Okay.
Is this for the award ceremony?
Yes, that'll be next week, Wednesday night, so keep your fingers crossed.
Well, I'll be doing that. I'll be saying a prayer for you, my friend. You certainly deserve it.
Well, thank you. It's a great honor to be a finalist as one of the best in the country for the fourth year in a row, but who's counting?
It certainly is, and I don't think you get enough credit for the things you do here. But that's coming. Don't worry. Things will change in time, hopefully.
Nostradamus, Tea Party Bob.
Most of the people in our country have never been confronted with a major flood like what hit the Atlantic coast. But, this can happen just about anywhere with the right weather conditions. Many of us forget what happened in Idaho in 1996 when the mountain snowpack was between 50 and 90% with temperatures 20 below. And we got hit with a Pineapple Express that brought warm temperatures and a lot of rain, causing the snow to melt faster than it could run off because of the frozen ground. In fact, the Little Salmon River overflowed to the point where it took out 2 to 3 miles of highway, plus the landslides we had in the canyons that blocked access in and out of our little town here. So the weather is unpredictable, and it always is the worst when you least expect it. Now, the fact that Biden and Harris were not prepared for this problem shows just how out of touch they are. In 23, FEMA spent $325 million on housing illegals and doubled that in 2024, which used up all of the FEMA's emergency funds that they've been talking about, and shows us how badly the government has been mismanaged under the Biden-Harris administration. So they are more concerned with the illegals than taking care of Americans who pay their salaries. And Trump, on the other hand, he arrived at the scene with Samaritan's Purse volunteers and raised over $4 million in relief funds. So the media doesn't cover that, yet they cover Kamala Harris, who actually came down 4 days later and got every network to literally broadcast her comments that she read from a paper, literally 2 lines on how the government was going to give them $750 for those affected by the storm, doing virtually nothing to help those that have lost everything. And we're spending $5.2 billion on a capsule to Jupiter, Jupiter's moon, and sending $8 billion to the Ukraine to fight a war with Russia. But we don't have the money to help the hurricane victims. So Biden and Harris treat American citizens like illegals and illegals like American citizens. And if we don't deport these illegal aliens, they will suck both Medicare and Social Security dry. Everything in our country has been turned upside down to cater to the illegals, which is why the open border has become a top issue for over 60% of Americans. The Democrats are saying that it's against the law for illegals to vote in federal elections, while they refuse to permit states to remove them from the voter rolls. In fact, the DOJ just filed suit against the state of Alabama for removing thousands of illegals off of their voter rolls, while Arizona can't remove over 200,000 illegals off their rolls because they have previously voted in elections. Does this make any sense to you?
No, no, it doesn't. But anyway.
So, the governors are doing what they can in these hardest hit states. But I will tell you, Biden could have called out the regular military and really made this so much better.
Well, they don't have a problem. They don't have a problem spending money for Zelensky.
Oh, no, exactly. I mean, $8 billion here, $10 billion there. We've gone through $200 billion so far for Zelensky. And that's because the neocons want to have another war. The federal government does nothing to help the people who have been devastated by this damn storm. And all they're doing is playing politics, particularly in those towns actually they were hit the hardest. They were the Republican towns, and they have done nothing to help them. Literally, some of them have been wiped off the map. So truly, we're living in a world turned upside down in a mere 4 years. So can you possibly imagine what will happen in the next 4 years if Harris is elected? And all I can say is God help us. And for those of you who don't want to deal with red light cameras, come to New Meadows. We don't have any red lights.
You don't have anybody. You don't have any population though either.
Yeah, but it's growing, Kevin. We're a growing city. We're actually building more condos. We're actually building more housing for people here. It's going to grow. I mean, you got 1,200 homes being built at Brundage.
Well, we appreciate the New Meadows update, Tea Party Bob. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Mr. Miller, and have a wonderful trip out there. Make sure you give us a call every now and then.
We'll be doing the show Tuesday and Wednesday from there, so yes.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Live from the United Nations. No, I'm not kidding. 580 KIDO. Don't forget, Clay and Buck coming up. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to Utah State versus Boise State. And Ashton Genty getting a lot of run when you're thinking of the Heisman Trophy. That would be a big honor. Of course, just getting to New York is a big honor. Just being there at the Downtown Athletic Club and the Heisman Trust. It's pretty big. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, what it means to you, your chance to go and win. And, Bo, could you text me? I know Eric won a pair, but who the other person was that won. And let me just check to make sure you haven't done that already. Usually you do, and that is on me. So if you could, we'd like to congratulate the winners of this hour here on KIDO Talk Radio. Now, you may notice I do have a slight cold, but it's no big deal. We're just going to keep rolling. And by the way, the commander. So the commander and Eric winning the tickets. And by the way, Commander, you and Mrs. Commander, thank you very much for listening. Also, Eric, thank you for listening. And when we talk about the Commander, it's always good to say, well, who is the Commander?
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
And congratulations to the Commander. Phone number's here, 580-5436. You know, in the old days, we used to make fun of the people that prepped, and we have, prepping shows on television and all sorts of things. I'm beginning to think it might be time to start prepping to living off the grid, considering what's happening in North Carolina. Remember, we had Dean Mayorkas, that is the Secretary Mayorkas of the Homeland Security Department, the Dean Wormer of 2024, saying just a few months ago, FEMA was prepared. In other words, he should have said this.
Remain calm. All is well.
3 months ago, FEMA said they were ready for any and all hurricanes because they had a lot of money. Of course, this was before they gave the money to the illegals.
FEMA is tremendously prepared. This is what we do. This is what they do. And the key here, Rebecca, is also to make sure that the communities who are potentially impacted are prepared as well. And it's not just hurricanes and wildfires, also extreme heat, which certainly some parts of the United States are already experiencing.
Sure. There was Mayorkas saying FEMA is ready to go. It's what they do. Yesterday, FEMA said that they don't have any money. Now, why doesn't FEMA have any money? You may recall this from Mayorkas as well.
FEMA is providing emergency food and shelter program funds to help cities around the country recover or defray the costs of non-citizen arrivals. CBP and ICE are working closely with cities to share information and coordinate the disposition of non-citizens in immigration enforcement proceedings.
So we spent the money on people that are here illegally so they would not be deterred. They would not be deterred from coming to America. And so we have blown our money on this. Now, those of you that live in Arizona, I met a gentleman yesterday from Arizona, talked about Senator Sinema, who used to be a Democrat. Now she's an independent. She had a few thoughts with Mayorkas a while ago.
As you know, Secretary, I helped secure $650 million in fiscal year 2024 for the CBP Shelter Services Program to limit the financial burden on local communities. I was pleased to see the notice of funding opportunity published last week that gave Arizona its fair share of the money available. As you know, this money has come quite late. We were just days away from Pima County ceasing all activities to process and manage migrants. So what steps is DHS going to take to ensure that additional funds are distributed and that we don't find ourselves in this critical situation in Pima County once again?
We announced with the first distribution last week, we also announced a competitive process for the second tranche of funds under the Shelter and Services Program. We are going to receive applications for it from existing recipients.
Yeah, he's just saying a bunch of nothing. By the way, any senator that can pull off wearing a zebra-patterned shirt has a lot more power than we do. You imagine that? Can you imagine Jim Risch wearing a zebra-colored shirt, black and white shirt that in the pattern of a zebra? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Mike Crapo doing that as well? I really can't imagine that. But as we've been talking about, FEMA is out of money. Is this any really way to run a government? It's so horrifically bad that we have to, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, that we have to believe that people are just not mentally competent that would vote for anybody right now but Donald Trump. Just based on that alone, how they're bungling FEMA. Think about that for a moment. They just continue to bungle and bungle and bungle. And Mayorkas, this guy should have been thrown out years ago. Michael in Meridian with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. I appreciate your show. I really, really do. Listen to every morning. I lived in California for many, many years, and the red light situation was a major problem. Its main purpose is fundraising for this community, for the police people, because of the fines that are created and charged for the people who violate the red lights, go through the red lights. The big problem with that is that somebody has to monitor a car that goes to every intersection that has a red light. That's done by an outside service, and it costs a lot of money for somebody to monitor that situation. There were lawsuits after lawsuits after lawsuits about these red light cameras. And I apologize, I'm not the authority on this stuff at all. But a lot of the red light cameras were eventually taken out. Also, you've noticed that over license plates, you can see this a little bit in Idaho here, but you'll see there's a covering over the license plate. And what those are, you've heard of polarized glasses that you wear to catch the glare of the sun. Well, what those coverings do is they cross-polarize the light that's flashed out to take the camera to take a picture of all of the license plates. And they cross-polarize the light so it blacks out the license plate so you can't read it. So if you're sharp, you look around town, you'll see little things covering over the top of license plates. And that's what its purpose is. Well, they even went to the point of outlawing in California those coverings, which was cross-polarized. Anyway, it was a major mess. And like I said, they ended up by taking out a lot of those cameras because of the lawsuits, the expense of having all these license plates processed. There wasn't any money left over for the state to gather because of what was being put out for the service to monitor this.
Sure,
stuff.
It's going to cost a lot more money. Michael, thank you for the call. I appreciate you. Let's go to Captain Harry, who joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Captain, my captain.
Top of the morning, Kevin. First off, I want to wish you well on your travels to the big city east of the Green River, as you say. I hope you go out there and kick some butt. You deserve it 4 times in a row. You're the man, Kevin. We love you, and I wish you well on that deal, big time. And the last caller he took away some thunder there. It's a tangled mess, those lights, but it all does come down to the money deal, and that's the bottom line there. But it's a tangled mess, and it'll be ugly. And my other thing I wanted to bring up is the Jack Smith stuff and how they're going after Trump for telling the truth on the election. And I just saw the Pillow Man talking about a lady in Colorado that stood up and saying about the mess they had, and they just sentenced her to 9 years in prison. And it's and the deal, like Tea Party Bob said, 218,000. They found people that are illegals registered to vote in Arizona. And, we're not going to do nothing about that. They got busted by a person way down the totem pole, brought it up, and they kind of got caught by their own people on that deal. But they're really dancing around trying to figure out how to get away with that in Arizona. But as far as Jack Smith goes, that guy, he knows the election was a fraudulent election, and he is going after Trump for telling the truth. That man is lower. He is, you hear about BS, bull, and chicken. Well, I'm talking about whale, and that dude is lower than whale poop, and that's at the bottom of the ocean. There's nothing further down than that, and that's where you are, Jack. You are lower than whale, and it's very sad what they're getting away with and how they're twisting stuff and going after people for telling the truth. So it's like truth fair, warfare, lawfare. Now they're going after the truth. But thank you for your time, Kevin. That's all I got. I'll be standing by.
Thank you, Captain Harry. We appreciate you. We'll finish up with Concern on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kevin. I just want to talk about traffic laws. One of the biggest issues we have, which is just this huge issue over top of America, is the fact that this DEQ stuff, or DI, whatever it is, this equity thing. When it comes to traffic laws, people just speed and do whatever they want because the fines ain't nothing and it really doesn't mean nothing. You get a ticket, well, bad luck. You got a ticket, you pay your $100 and you're done with it. There's no consequences in anything. The bottom line is we need to increase the fines for people that are speeding and make it more incentive for the people that want to obey the laws and do things right. These days, there's no incentive for living life right. In our days when I was younger, there was points. You get 3 points and insurance goes up. These days, everybody gets the same insurance. So guys are out there breaking the law, causing accidents, uninsured, and the money comes back to us, all because we don't want to be unfair to them because, hey, they're driving too, There's no incentive for anybody that obeys the laws, has good credit. I remember when I bought my first house in Boise, back in the 80s, and it was like they were all over me about every little payment and stuff like that. And these days, you can go bankrupt, buy a house the next day. There's no incentive to obey laws on the traffic, slow down, insure your car. People do things like, build houses on the edge of cliffs and then it falls and then everybody's insurance goes up. And it's just like there's no incentive to do the right thing and have good credit, do the speed limits, and get an insurance break because you're a cautious driver and you have no tickets. They want to spread it all across the board. Everybody's got to be treated the same. And that is the problem with this equity thing. It's not the same. We need to incentivize people that want to obey laws, have good credit, and do things right. And that's the problem. No matter what you do, that's what happens with socialists. No matter how good you are, it doesn't really matter because everybody gets the same. And that's what we're leaning into, socialism. We need to increase the fines on the freeway, make it really hard that if you're speeding, you get a ticket and it goes against you. People will slow down. That's all we need to do is enforce the laws. But it's just frustrating. But thank you for your show, Kevin. That was my little rant for this morning and on the traffic deal. Thanks.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Kevin Bell in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Don't forget, coming up, Clay and Buck. They will give you a chance to win tickets to see Boise State versus Utah State. That'll be in the 10 o'clock hour. On a programming note, we will be en route to, I was going to say the nation's capital, but we will be going to the nation's largest city, New York City. We will be broadcasting from there next week in honor of the National Association of Broadcasters Marconi Awards, which recognizes the best in radio. We have once again been a finalist for Show of the Year. That's not talk show, that's shows throughout the country. So whether people live in Indiana or Michigan or Texas, we will be going up against, a sports show, a rock show, a jock show, a country show. So it truly is the very best of the best, and we do want to thank all of you who have made that possible, and of course our friends at the National Association of Broadcasters who have recognized our work here. And it's not an easy thing to do, and it's like getting to the Final Four, if you will, in basketball. So God bless, keep the faith, and remember, Kevin Miller loves you.
The Humana Honor Medicare Advantage Plan gives you $1,680 back each year in your Social Security check. Choose coverage that helps you keep more money in your pocket. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. The Part B Give Back benefit pays part or all of your Part B premium, and the amount may change based on the amount you pay for Part B. Limitations and restrictions may apply. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.